Ladies and gentlemen, this is El Cochino, Tom Lawler, and I'd like to welcome you to the podcast that puts the lotion on its own skin, LuchaWorld. Bitchin'.
Greetings, everybody. This is episode 102, episode number 102 of LuchaWorld Podcast. Yes, 102 episodes old, Fredo.
You've done like 80 of them.
Yes, yes. And I did all those 80, I think, in the first few years LuchaWorld was around.
Yeah.
And I've kind of
mailed it in.
I disappeared into the rabbit hole. Yeah, I've been mailing it in, disappearing into the rabbit hole.
You stopped watching wrestling in general.
Stopped watching... Well, no. I stopped watching that stuff on TV, but I saw wrestling recently. Like, we'll talk about that later, though. I did see some wrestling.
You did watch wrestling on a computer, or at least a monitor or something.
I did on a genuine television set.
Oh,
like one of those
big,
long, rectangular
You have it hooked
ones.
up? You have your internet hooked up?
It's hooked up,
yeah.
and the wrestlers are much bigger than when I watch them on the computer screen.
In HD?
Yeah, yeah. In HD, well, HD, but it's YouTube, so it's third generation
Standard.
HD. Yeah, third generation tape of a streaming device of a hard drive or something like that. I don't know. I had just the most amazing experience when I was driving here.
Yeah.
I decided I'm going to take the scenic route.
You did? Really?
Now, what's the scenic route when I'm coming to Walnut Kills?
Downtown Pomona.
Yes, Holt Street. Holt Street.
You went through Holt Street?
It was a sign.
Any of the women of the night? Early in the morning?
Yeah, but
or early afternoon?
They were out in the afternoon. I didn't know what they were doing.
There were some?
There were a few.
Yeah.
They looked a little lost, but, I'm sure they found their rooms okay. So
that's one of the highlights of Holt Avenue.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it? The greatest experience I ever had of Holt was, it was actually rather somber.
I should ask,
yes.
Was that lady dancing? That one lady I told you about?
No, she wasn't.
She was
dancing.
there. Oh, she wasn't there.
Oh, bummer. Okay, you'll have to point out which intersection.
She's like near the Cardenas Market.
Yes, I know where the
somewhere
Cardenas
between
Market
that
is.
and wherever all those gas stations are. All those, whichever gas station you go to.
I know which ones you're talking about. And
there's like 3 or 4 of them.
They're by all the used tire shops.
Yeah. There's a bunch of gas stations right after that. She's usually somewhere in that area.
Okay, I'm going to have to look for that because maybe we could hire her as a valet. Because the reason I was so excited was I was going down Holt to see the most exciting thing that happened was it was a rather somber weekend about 6 years ago when my stepmother passed away. But I had to drive down Holt at like 9 in the evening to pick somebody up from the airport because there was a major truck wreck and the freeways were closed.
Yeah.
Like the 57, all of them. So I am in standstill traffic on a Friday night on Holt Street, and it's right around all those hotels and the working women are. Mm-hmm. Standstill traffic. And so I got to just sit there and just sit back and observe Holt, and and I'm sitting there, and suddenly this guy runs in front of my car. Like,
yes.
Right in front. I'm like, what the fuck? And then right behind him is a woman who is intent on killing this man. And the man is screaming. And I just sat there saying, you don't see that every day.
That only happens in Pomona now.
In Pomona on Holt Street. Yeah. So as I was driving Holt Street today, I saw a sign. You know what the sign said?
What was the sign?
Road work ahead.
There's a lot of road work there.
And that's a sign. That is not. That's an amazing sign. And the reason is, why would they ever do road work on Holt Street? Of all the streets you could pick, why would you repair Holt Streets?
They're like adding tubes and wiring, aren't they? Like something like that? I think they're adding.
That's it. See, my thing is
there's a lot of road work in this area.
But that's the weird thing. There's so little road work in California these days. They got to get up with that's one criticism.
There's a lot. If you go to Eastvale and Corona, there's they've had Pine Street and all those streets have been closed.
Yeah, some of those, but we're talking Holt Street. Like that's supposed to be the last one. How
often do they fix Holt Avenue all the time? Like it's like constant. There's holes all the time, every single time. Like
yes,
every single year there's hole. Like they fix it, and then there's more holes.
Yes, exactly. See, I think they realize this time. See, they're not fixing any of the buildings around it. They're not doing any work on the housing structures. They know that Holt Street Wrestling is coming, so they're fixing the road so that all the cars can come to Holt Street Wrestling. Will have that dancing lady as a valet. And
have you seen that commercial for Domino's Pizza where they send somebody to fix up holes on streets?
No.
Because I guess when they're delivering pizza, sometimes they'll hit a a hole, and then like the pizza will like go all over the place.
The top of the box.
Yeah. So then they said now if you call Domino's, they'll send someone and work on fixing that. And I thought, man, we should get somebody to do that all the time and hold to
That
Avenue.
would be great. Oh,
that ain't gonna happen.
That'd be awesome.
So Kurt, we're gonna talk about CMLL.
Now that we're done talking about the road work, I saw that was right around Cassie's.
Okay, hold on.
Cassie's
let's.
Diner.
You're drinking coffee. You gotta calm down a little bit.
Okay.
I have bad news for you because I haven't done a podcast in like 8 weeks. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna talk about every CMLL show over the last 9 weeks. That's about 30 shows, I think. About 24 to 30 shows. About 150 matches. And let's start with the very first Puebla of September. Just kidding.
Now, you said you have some Xanax laying around somewhere. Is that true?
Can you imagine if we just started going through every single show? Like, people would be like, what the hell? Is he talking about Tuesdays?
Well, I wish I wish I'd just legalize all drugs.
Metallica?
What we could do is we could do the... we're going to have a Puebla night every night on LuchaWorld.com, and for every Patreon, we're sending you a free cup of Xanax to take. Put in your coffee while you're listening to this.
The Puebla. So did you watch any of that, the anniversary after all, or you didn't watch anything?
The anniversary show? I watched the main event, which was amazing.
The tag match?
Yes.
How did you watch that?
I watched it way after the fact.
Illegally?
Yes.
You didn't pay $10 like the rest of us?
Jesus. Well, I paid it in cash. Was that okay? I just put it in an envelope and...
In Mexico, you could go to like some store and order it, and it's like...
Yeah, it's a...
I love how it's like... Or it's like you could order it online, or you could go to like the local store and they're explaining it. It's like, okay, that's like way more.
They're not doing PayPal. PayPal's so easy.
No, they're doing PayPal.
They are now?
But they have to explain it to the people that don't want to use PayPal.
It's amazing.
And it's like you could buy at a store and get a ticket, put in the ticket number in there, and it's like, man, come on, like
So
just get a PayPal account.
I was gonna say, do the people in Mexico, do they think the Illuminati is? Because I mean, we here in the States, we have so many whack job theories about why people don't do things. Because everybody thinks the Illuminati or some conspiracy or, do they think that there's something nefarious going on in PayPal? But, because they seem scared of it.
Well, we were talking about it at,
with Cecilia
how like they'd rather send you their bank account number. It's like, and we're like here in the U.S.
Social security.
Yeah, it's like in the U.S. we don't use any of that stuff.
It's so weird.
Yeah, that's So you watched the main event. Did you like the main event? The hair match?
I loved it. More than I thought I would.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a few weeks, so I don't...
Yeah, you don't have to tell me specific.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I remember liking it. I remember I got a nice little tease because some prankster put on a YouTube visual. They said that the result was the opposite. And they did they did a very good Photoshop of a bald rouge. And so I said, oh, well, spoiler, big deal. And then as I'm watching it, I'm kind of thinking, wait a minute.
There's no way Rouge and Cavernario.
One, I thought no way they would, but even as I'm watching the match, I remember thinking, nah, they're not, But it was whoever the prankster was, thanks. You kind of made my evening fun. There's, should we talk about... Blue Panther match.
We're gonna get to. I have it in order. We're going in order. We're going back up.
I was scared.
Don't worry. This is probably the only thing from September. Anyways, nothing happened the rest of the month.
It's not September. I'm worried about it. It's
the rest of October.
No, I'm concerned. I thought you were gonna say we're going all the way
back to August.
No, August or September.
2017.
No, I was scared you're gonna say we're going back to the beginning of this month and we're gonna go over all the AAA that we can go over. I was scared you're gonna say
Honestly, AAA the last couple of weeks, and I think the thing they have is that they're back to what they were like a couple of years ago, where the first couple of matches are good, and then the last part of the show is like, who wants to watch that? There are some fans that like that stuff. More power to you if you enjoy that. If you will enjoy watching Mr. Electro in main event matches, by all means, sign up to their Twitch channel, subscribe, pay for it, or get it free through Amazon Prime. Go ahead and watch it. I am definitely not going to watch it.
Yeah, to each his own.
I have watched so much wrestling that it's like, I think I've kind of come to the point where I just want to watch stuff I'm going to enjoy. Some of it may not be stuff I enjoy because it ends up being bad or whatever, but at least I pick stuff that I more or less... I go in thinking I'm going to enjoy it.
See, I'm with you. Lately, I've I still watch a little more than the average bear, but the thing is with me is lately I've been wanting to enjoy it the way I watched it as a fan, because we've been talking about this recently. CMLL is my favorite. It's just, they're my favorite wrestlers, and despite their missteps, it's my favorite promotion, but they stream so many of their shows live, and when you think about it, if you're a fan, that's not how wrestling was meant to be watched. Maybe baseball every night, but wrestling, especially, there's very few promoters.
It's like one day. That's the day you want to watch it.
Week.
Yeah.
And if I was a promoter and I knew my stuff was going to be streamed 3 times a week, I would try to make those shows as different from one another.
Unfortunately, that's not
how it works. That's just not how it works.
My favorite thing is that Tuesday show is supposed to be for the young guys, and it's like not even anything young. Like they'll have Shocker, Mascareno dos Mil, Rey Bucanar. You've seen it. They have those types of.
But it's been ages since I've seen Tuesday night shows.
It's been. You probably saw it, and it still had that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not. It's not
they were
different.
probably rookies at the time.
They weren't rookies. You were watching that. You were the one that was watching like 2 years ago when you were really on that role of watching Puebla and Tuesday shows.
I will say 2 years ago
you stopped watching Tuesdays like after 2 weeks. Or
yeah, but the thing I loved is I remember when I was watching. It was when it's when I first remembered them pushing Soberano Jr.
Yeah,
and that was really enjoyable. I'm still enjoying him very much. But that was like one of those things where like, holy shit, this guy's fun to watch.
So did you catch any of this exciting feud of the 2018 between Los Guerreros Laguneros and the amazing trio of the Clan? Cyber the main man.
Cyber's the main
Charlie, not Cyber's the main man. Cyber the main man. Come on, get it right. Charlie Rockstar and the Chris.
The Chris. You know what?
You missed every single one of their matches.
I think that's why I'm so excited.
I think you might have seen one, didn't you? I think you saw one.
Did I see one?
I think you saw one like during the summer.
I might have, but I don't remember, to be honest.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, I don't remember.
It doesn't.
I probably wasn't expecting much anyways. I gotta be honest.
Who could forget that feud? One of the best feuds of 2018.
So the way you're saying it sounds like I didn't miss anything.
They dropped the titles in the anniversary, but then regained them. The Guerreros Laguneros.
And of course,
unfortunately, it ended. You know how this feud ended?
How did it end?
Something happened with Charlie Rockstar. That's what I was going to ask Rob about, and I totally forgot about Charlie Rockstar.
Is he getting into trouble again?
Whatever, he'll tell me at some point.
Dear.
So then Cyber the Main Man is in a match. Mm-hmm. It's a trios match. It's him, it's Cyber the Main Man, the Chris, and I think it might have been Cavernario versus LA Park, Hijo de LA Park, and I think Mystico or somebody like that.
So Cavernario had his work.
Well, it doesn't matter. That's not even that match wasn't good at all anyways.
Yeah.
So LA Park goes for a spear on Cyber the Main Man. Mm-hmm. Cyber the main man does not take the spear properly. LA Park gets upset, pins him, and then just walks off angrily. Now keep in mind, LA Park is one of those guys. LA Park loves to be like in the center of attention and stuff. So he just walks off all upset. So that was the last time we saw Cyber the Main Man in CMLL.
Wow.
And we had a new clan formed. The Chris leading the new clan members, Cavernario and Hechicero. But they're not really the clan, but...
They're different.
Yeah, they're totally different.
I have not seen any of that.
Yeah, you missed a lot. That's been...
So
that was the most... That's pretty much what's kind of killed CMLL lately, that feud.
It's a feud that probably shouldn't have happened in the first place, even if it kept going.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah, so that was really one of the... did you watch the Grand Prix? Because I have a lot of great news from that show for you.
I saw... That was what I was watching when I saw the final, right? Of Michael Elgin versus... What was I watching? Was I watching a championship match?
If you watched Michael Elgin versus Ultimo Guerrero in a singles match, you watched the show the following week.
The following week, okay. This is what we're talking about me being retired, is I'm forgetting what day of the week it is.
The Grand Prix is when Team Mexico faces Team World.
Okay, I definitely did not watch that.
The excitement of this match, the excitement of this show was about as interesting as the anniversary show, which pretty much meant not much went on.
It wasn't as exciting as the PWG show we saw.
No. Actually, it wasn't. Actually, it wasn't as... You saw the Narocasas anniversary show, right?
Yes, I did.
That's been the best show.
Wow.
This year. And none of these other shows have matched that. The Grand Prix was, pretty forgetful.
Wow.
Yeah, Michael Elgin beat Ultimo Guerrero. That's why you ended up seeing the following week. You saw Ultimo Guerrero face Michael Elgin.
Now that was a great match.
Yeah,
and we'll talk about that. So.
That show. I think you saw the Avispa Dorada's debut from that show. You saw that. You saw the second match.
Oh, from the women's match.
You saw the women's match.
Yes, I did.
You
see
saw that. I think you saw it on Grand Prix then.
Okay,
because you were telling me she was debuting that day.
Yes, that was the only other match I saw from that.
No, that was the only match you saw from that.
Yeah, the only match.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from later seeing...
No, that was the following week.
No, that was the following week.
Yes.
But the week before was the Grand Prix.
Yes.
Now, if I could imagine that the Grand Prix night was the night that Michael Elgin faced Ultimo Guerrero, even though it's a week before that...
That was the show. Grand Prix is the show where LA Park got upset at Cyber the main man.
walked away.
Yes, so. That was like the highlight. That was the highlight of the show. You know, it's weird. You saw the Avispa Dorada debut.
Yes, I did.
What'd you think of her?
You know, I don't know how long she's been in it, but she has a fuck of a lot of potential.
Yeah. She's been wrestling for 7 years, but think about it, she's in the U.S.
She's in the U.S.
Yeah,
she's
so it's not
got this
really
whole new style, and with the exception of somebody like Amapola, who is, in my opinion, the one person in that match who could make things move. I'm not saying the most athletic of them, but she's the one who can make a match move and lead a match, and that's badly what the women need more than anything.
Unfortunately.
But
we get the same trios match every week too, so
we do get, that's another problem of it. We got the same, pretty much the same trios match with one or two different characters replaced. On top of that, nobody is leading the green, and so the green never become polished. But there are some bright spots, and I think she's one who actually could improve quite a bit even in this kind of climate.
Yeah, I think she's like athletically, and I think a lot of the newer women that they brought in, I think they have some potential, but like I said, they're not going to do anything because they're constantly the same match. And hopefully she can actually, take whichever she learns from CMLL and takes it to to the US or something.
It is kind of frustrating.
Not that women in wrestling in general are going to there's not as many options for them.
No, there aren't. There's more than probably ever before.
Yeah.
But that's still not a lot. The frustrating thing, just because I dig CMLL, is you have somebody like her, and then you have another person with potential like Lady Maravilla. Mm-hmm. And
she has so much potential. She went to AAA, and she's showing it now.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest...
Did you like Lady Maravilla?
I liked her a lot. I mean, that's another one where you could tell she hadn't been doing it for long.
It's funny because I've had I think you, Cubs fan, and Rob have all kind of said you like her more than some of the other women. And I've always I was kind of more like, yeah, she's all right, but I wasn't as high on her. Because I don't know, her flexibility always kind of creeped me out.
Really?
Because she does all that stuff, not in a bad way, more she looks like she's gonna break easily.
Say if she's doing a plancha, she doesn't look like quite.
Yeah, she's gonna break. Basically.
She looks like she's gonna break.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah. That's just her greenness.
Yeah.
I think she is supernaturally talented.
She's really good. I mean, she left.
Very good.
She's very if you see what she's. That's what you should watch from AAA. All the women's matches of late.
Watch all the okay.
Yeah, because they're actually
because I really do like women's wrestling, and that's the one thing that frustrates me most with CMLL is, I think,
and not just the women's matches, the ones that are mixed with guys.
Those are pretty worth
Those
it
are really good too. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say with CMLL, I think they have enough veteran women that if they just had them lead everything with the women, this is kind of idealizing it, I realize, but I think the women would be a lot better if they had a couple of more veterans. I
don't think that
it's not going to happen. I'm just saying.
No, I don't think that. I think that's where I think the veterans they need are the ones that are in AAA that are actually young and good.
Oh, I'm not even. I don't even.
Kira.
I don't even mean
Lady Maravilla.
I don't even mean great. I don't even mean great veterans. Just veterans.
I think they need somebody that can overlook it and tell
them. That's what I'm. Yeah,
bad,
exactly. That's actually kind of what I'm getting at. Amapola is not somebody who's going to be on top as the champion.
Yeah.
But people like her are invaluable for shaping these women from being talented but green workers into people who know how to work a match.
Yeah.
And that said, on the other hand, I will say women's wrestling in general has come a fucking long way in the last couple of years. We've gone from, as Jim Cornette would say, The WWE divas who live on nicotine and diet pills and don't know how to take a bump to women who can actually work these days. And I'm not even following that closely, but I'm just seeing, just in little snippets of matches, I'm seeing what better quality workers they're generating.
There's worse now.
Oh, I'm sure there are some worse out there somewhere if you look enough.
I'm just kidding. You know, honestly, though, I think if you took what All Japan Women were doing, like if you take that, I bet you there were more, just in that one promotion, better workers than there are all around right now.
Oh, easily. Not just with women, with men, too.
Yeah, I mean,
that's like the gold standard.
Yeah.
That was like, I did not realize in the late 80s I was watching something so amazing.
I do agree with you. I think there are a lot better female wrestlers now than like 10 years ago or something. Because remember, like, what was it, 10 years ago? The only one that was here locally was maybe like Candice LeRae and Nikki,
the New York Knockout.
Yeah, and that was basically it. No one liked Nikki.
Well, she's a prima donna. Because there were so few wrestlers. So
we can say that because Kurt got to work with her and he didn't like her.
Well, the time I worked with her, I liked her okay, but I didn't realize that she thought she was a bigger deal than she was.
Yeah.
When there were less women in the mix, they tend to think they're more special and that they should be on top. If you have 100 women in the mix, you can't afford that luxury to think you're tough shit and that you should have the top spot. You gotta, and I think that was what one of the big problems here in SoCal was. And we had some of the worst. We had a couple of good ones, but we had some pretty bad ones too.
I need to get a sponsor for every segment when we talk about women's wrestling on every podcast I'm on, because it always ends up being like this, or like it's the high note. Then it hits the low note. Then it kind of sometimes it goes back up.
I gotta be honest with you. I'd say of all the conversations we've had about women's wrestling, I think this is the one where we've kind of gotten our
where we've said something positive about them.
We said something positive, and we got, because for years, I for the longest time I've been trying to frustrate exactly what my frustration is, or vent my frustration about why CML women. Especially,
but you know, it's weird because I think
I think we expressed it better.
I think a lot of people, when they get into CMLL, they're like, "Man, I love this stuff. I love the women. Why are you guys so down on the women and stuff?" And then all of us who watch it frequently, or at least every week or so, or whatever, more often, we've seen it more longer than they have. We kind of tell people, give it a couple of weeks, then you'll understand.
Exactly.
And usually they do, because it's very repetitive.
And that's not a knock on them. They're not bad. They're not bad. It's just there's only so far they can go.
Reina Isis, have you seen her lately?
I like her.
Yeah, she's improved physically too. So
she has.
Yeah. She's a lot better in the ring also, but because she was, I think a lot of people are like, man, she's not that good. I go, look at her when she first started. She was horrible.
Absolutely,
she was
I agree.
Horrible, and now she's at least passable, and that's that's already an improvement.
And I always.
That said, a lot of women's matches are really bad.
Exactly. But I always give an A for effort. That's just me. And one, so I guess we said what we can say about it, but no, it's true. It's true.
So basically, after several weeks of really bad CMLL, we get to the show that you actually watched the main event from, the October 12th show. That was actually a good show, and unfortunately, you only watched the main event, right?
I only
Ultimo Guerrero versus Michael Elgin.
And oh my god! But let me ask that. I only watched the main event. If I was going to pick one match that night, did I pick the right match?
Yes, you picked the right match. Because there were three good matches. The third match was Dragon Rojo Jr., Pulvera, and Templario beating Audaz, Esfinge, and Sobrano Jr. That was good, but it was only 2 falls. And then the semi-main event had Ali Park, Volador Jr., Mystico versus my newly formed clan team of the Chris, Cavernario, and Hechicero. Which, that was good. I mean, when you have like the 2 good workers with the Chris, and then the other team has all these guys that can work. The Chris actually looked good, and I was impressed because he hasn't looked good in like 10 years probably.
In fact, I hate to go back to 5 minutes ago, but he's surrounded by greatness.
Yeah.
He's going to be motivated.
Yeah.
Same thing. If you have great workers next to you, you're likely going to improve. If you have 2 chumps next to you, you're going to stay a chump.
So then the main event was, of course, Elgin versus Ultimo Guerrero, and of course Ultimo Guerrero getting his win back.
Holy fuck!
Great match, right? I mean, I thought it was a match of the year candidate.
It was a match of the year candidate, and this was my favorite match, televised match
of this year,
since early 2017.
Since the tag match.
Since the Increíbles tag match, the one that is one of my favorite matches ever. which was Barbaro Cavernario and Volador Jr. against Ultimo Guerrero and Valiente.
Yeah.
And I like this match the same way I like that match. One, the work was just outstanding. Not just that, but that's the reason I say televised match was one of my favorite televised matches. The TV camera work was so good. And wrestling in Mexico, there's so many times where you're watching a great match and in the middle of a high spot, the camera goes to some other wrestler in the corner or a fan in the crowd. The cameraman who was filming this got all the right crowd moments. Canadian fans cheering for Elgin.
Yeah.
Elgin. I'm sorry.
Big Mike, if you...
Big Mike. I used to know somebody named Elgin. That's why I keep wanting to call him Elgin. But
Elgin Baylor.
Elgin Baylor? Who's Elgin
basketball
Baylor?
player.
Yeah,
The legendary Laker.
I don't even know who Kurt Rambis is.
Well, Elgin Baylor's a bigger deal than Kurt Rambis.
Well, back then in the day, all the women knew who Kurt Rambis was.
How do you now know who Elgin Baylor is? I mean, he's from like the 60s.
I don't remember. None of my family watched sports. I wasn't the only one in my family who didn't watch sports. I think my sister
He didn't appear in any of those wacky shows you watched, like game shows and stuff.
No, like with Charles Nelson Riley.
Yeah, stuff like that. You don't remember?
Match Game 73.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah.
I've never seen it. Okay.
So continue on. You were saying about the Elgin. you forgot already?
No,
but you know the thing.
No, I love the stream of consciousness we go to. We go from a great match to a great basketball player in the 60s who I don't know. Of course I don't know him. But no, the camera work where they got all of Elgin's fans.
Big spots, yeah.
They got the fans who are clearly for Guerrero. They got at one point where some fan is begging for Guerrero to get up. And I almost think I don't know if that wasn't an accidental shot and the cameraman got it right there. I'm sitting there saying this guy's
when they're on their game, CML's the camera crew that they have,
they're great.
The production team is really good. When they're not on their game, you get those graphics, those horrible graphics on Match Relampagos that are totally bullshit.
Yes.
That's something you've missed. Stupid Match Relampagos. They were good. The matches are usually good, but now they've added those the graphics. They wrote at the bottom of the screen it says Match Relampago. Mm-hmm. Then they made an even bigger CMLL logo on the right, like the left side or something, and then on the right side it has the numbers, the timer, and so in big numbers. And so it's like you should have seen the first time they had two logos on it, and I was like, man, come on, guys, this is like it looked like those. Remember the mid or late 90s sketch comedy where they would make fun of the news for having all these different things on the monitors and stuff.
Yes.
Like, man, this thing was horrible.
That's stupid. It's like one of those things. That's the one thing that's not broke. So why fix it?
Yeah, and
the Relampagos were always one of the.
Even the guys would talk about that they wanted to do those, and now it's like they're like, man, this kind of sucks.
How weird.
Yeah, but what I was most impressed about Big Mike is that he really fits well in lucha.
Beautifully.
Yeah.
And I have to say
he's a technico. He comes across like a technico.
And when he sells big time. I mean, even little moves, he gives just the right facial expression for those. He doesn't undersell it like I'm Big Mike, which a lot of guys like him would do. And just the way he put over Guerrero, I mean, just
I think if he became a regular, he'd be one of the more popular foreigners in Mexico.
Well, he's got my vote. I think
granted, a lot of people don't like him right now because of all the stuff that the little mess online. Which I have no idea of where that's good. I don't have the latest update on that, but
I know you've.
But
I saw what was going on at the beginning, but it still sounds like it's very unclear.
But even take that away, those problems and all that stuff. I think nowadays people are so sensitive and like to put their own moral ground or standard or whatever they have on other people. Art Barr, a guy who a lot of people constantly talk about how great a guy he was and stuff like that. Why did he go back? Why did he go to Mexico?
He was a convicted rapist.
Yes.
And a lot of
he wasn't getting work here.
And a lot of people conveniently forget that he
was
too.
So it's like
and there's a
lot more guys who are over there. I mean, guys who came from Mexico, who came to the United States. They never were able to return to the United States because they did stuff over here. So it's like you can't just you got to separate and I say this in a unfortunate sort of way. You have to separate the wrestler from the person. Some of us can't, and if you can't, don't do it. Just don't watch it or whatever. But
Oh yeah, well, I think there is some truth to that, but there is a different thing. Akbar was convicted of rape, straight up rape. He was convicted.
Yeah.
He pled guilty.
It's an underage girl, right, and all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's been some revisionist history because I know a lot of people liked Akbar. Apparently, he's a very, very charming guy.
Yeah.
People loved him. But this is very different in that nothing's been proven, and it sounds like it's really everybody's shrugging. It sounds like in this situation, everybody's told some lies. Everybody lies.
Yeah.
Newsflash. And as far as the moral...
Well, Big Mike was caught in the lie too.
Yeah, he was caught in the lie. He's one of them. So you are going to raise an eyebrow here and there. Now, if I heard he actually committed a sexual assault, I'm not going to get on the bandwagon of somebody.
I'm already moving on to the Blue Panther 40th anniversary show.
So that's a little more pleasant topic. Yeah. But anyway, the Michael Elgin match was fucking phenomenal. Yeah. And I do I do hope he's a good...
I don't know him anyway, so who cares?
I don't know him anyways. He's a good wrestler. I hope he's a good cat. And
that's my take on...
if
Kurt, that's my take on everything that happens in with any celebrity or anybody who gets in trouble. It's like, I don't know him. I don't care. It's like, because I don't really know him. It's like, what am I going to tell somebody? But everybody has an opinion.
Well, my biggest thing, because you're talking about the moral compass.
Yeah.
I mean... Here's my thing to say about people's moral compass. And this is something I've believed for years, is the louder people scream about somebody doing something terrible, about doing something bad, how they should be kicked out because of this. Check your own house, because I guarantee the louder you're screaming about the bad things people are doing, the more terrible things that you are doing.
Kurt, we should move on to Fuerza Guerrera.
We need to get on. What?
Since you're talking about moral compasses, I think I should just give you, this is going to be a curveball?
This is not a curveball, this is a segue. This sounds, okay, let's tell me about Fuerza Guerrera.
So, do you know the story about Fuerza Guerrera?
No, I don't.
Okay, so we'll talk about the Blue Panther, because Blue Panther's 40th anniversary was actually a pretty, there's only 2 good matches in it, but, because the Blue Panther thing will lead into PWG, because we did meet a Lagunero we met 2 Laguneros.
We did?
So, the Fuerza Guerrera story... he had his anniversary show, and it was on an indie show, and he decided to debut Fuerza Guerrera Jr. and Fuerza Guerrera Hija, daughter.
Really?
The daughter's just going to go as Fuerza Guerrera. I don't know why. It should be Hija de Fuerza Guerrera. So, for about 24 hours, everybody was wondering if they were really his kids. And Juventud Guerrera decided to do a Facebook Live where he talked about his brother and sister getting into the lucrative world of lucha libre, because they see there's so much money to be made in lucha libre that they've decided to enter it.
Okay, I'm waiting to see.
Brother, hold on. Brother, Fuerza Guerrera Jr. is 45 years old, getting into lucha libre just now. Sister is 35 years old, barely getting into lucha libre. So let me ask you, Kurt, how lucrative can we expect the world? How successful? How much money will these 2 people be making in this lucrative world of lucha libre?
Now you're gonna hate me for this, Fredo.
There's not.
To answer this question,
there's not that much.
No, to answer this question, I have to go in a total another direction.
Oh no!
Again, I know this is the 5th time I've done this in this podcast.
Don't compare it to Michael Elgin, please.
No, I'm going way back. I'm going back many, many, many decades.
It's 1972.
Earlier.
I always think you're in the 70s, right?
Yes, and you are right. You're right. When do I perk up most? When we do the Patreon shows, when we talk about the 60s and 70s. Yes. That's when I
like how you always call it Patreon.
Do I sound more cultural when I do that? Patreon. I got used to not saying Fuerza Guerrera.
Okay, tell a story.
Fuerza Guerrera. Why do I have to go back this far? Black Shadow.
Really?
what is considered one of the most important historical matches in the history of Lucha Libre involving Black Shadow versus El Santo.
Okay.
One of the biggest stars. A star so huge that...
I was going to say Black Shadow versus like some random indie guy.
like a Joe Turco.
Yeah, somebody from that era.
No, he probably one of the biggest stars of that era. A big star to the point that veterans in the 70s were arguing, not the wrestlers, but the journalists were arguing, should we blame him for bringing high flying into wrestling? I guess he gets the
some of the
credit
blame.
or the blame, whichever you. I think it was toward the end of his life. He was selling like shopping bags or something at some outdoor market.
Uh-huh.
That's how lucrative pro wrestling is.
Well,
I had trouble walking too.
Yeah, you know, so Juventud Guerrera says that. Then he talks. He did admit that they were his brother and sister, and then he goes off on his dad for being an asshole, which is a legitimate story. Everybody still talks about it. Let's not forget the day we met Blue Panther. We asked Superboy if all the guys from Mexico were cooler now visiting LA, and he said, "Yeah, everybody except Fuerza Guerrera." If you remember that,
I believe. Yeah, and you know what? He didn't have any interaction with me. Remember when they were touring together regularly, the two of them?
Yeah. They're compadres.
Yes. Here's the difference.
Good friends.
When Blue Panther is by himself, he's laid back and he takes his mask off. The 2 times I was there when he's with Blue Panther, he had his mask on. Blue Panther did the whole time.
Yeah.
With Fuerza, and was nice but reserved. Where Fuerza was just cold to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, so Juventud Guerrera starts talking about how his dad has never liked them, and he kind of feels like he's pretty much out of the family now, and he kind of accused his brother and sister of getting into the business and not really having wrestling licenses, not training properly. He just buried them. You kind of felt sorry for Juvi, because I mean, I think a lot of people have different opinions on Juventud Guerrera, like. Everybody thinks he's crazy, first of all. And he does come across like he's fucking insane. I'm pretty sure he is. But he was nice to us. Like, that one time we met him. He's always... He's a very nice...
There are people who are very good at being publicly kind.
Yeah.
And also charming people tend to...
And we just talked about a couple of, like, the whole story of the guys.
Yeah, but he... No. He was very kind to us.
Yeah, so...
He gave us a lot of time.
It's one of those things where I kind of think, like... He kind of seems like he's a nice enough guy where at least you should have the courtesy, like, because he said, they didn't invite him to his anniversary or anything. Yeah, yes. And he was telling stories. He was telling stories of experiences he's had with his dad, where his dad's kind of slighted him, like not wanting to work with him, like getting booked. Right. He was talking about him getting him a booking in San Francisco, and Fuerza showing up and telling the promoter he didn't want to team up or work with his son at all.
Wow.
Which, what's the point of bringing Fuerza Guerrera if he's not going to do that?
Exactly.
And so he talked about when they were tag team champions in AAA, and he had the option to go to WCW, and he chose to go to WCW. Well, not the WCW, but the United States. I think it might have been ECW then WCW.
Right.
And so he basically left the tag belts, and Fuerza wanted him to stay and defend those titles in Mexico. And so he got very upset. Juventud Guerrera got upset, so he said, let's go talk to the commissioner. The commissioner at the time was Wolf Ravinsky, who is pretty much the most level-headed guy in wrestling. One of the most people who kind of doesn't just think wrestling.
Yeah.
So he was talking about how here they are Fuerza's telling him, I can't believe he's going to go to the United States and leave the tag titles. We should be teaming up all the time. And Wolf Ravinsky is looking at him and he says, your son is actually going to United States to succeed. It's a good thing. He's like, why are you so negative about this? And
this is Fuerza Guerrera, who should recognize the tag titles. This is a gimmick. This is a storytelling device.
Yeah, and it's triple.
People do get weird about that. Yeah, wrestlers get weird. No, yeah.
So this whole thing just has been a big mess, and they kind of, his brother and sister have kind of buried Juventud Guerrera in interviews also. So it's kind of just this horrible family.
That's sad.
Thing it's like,
I think one of the worst. One of the best and worst things about wrestling are the family dynasties, because, just we know what we know about the Costas. It seems like
they're amazing. They're all amazing.
Yes.
And then you hear the Juventud Guerrera family. It's like Fuerza Guerrera family. It's like, oh my god, these guys, they're
and the kids, the younger wrestlers are the ones I always feel bad for because you're usually gonna get caught in the crosses of your dad or your mom or whoever's in the business, and that's very sad. I mean, no, I always liked Fuerza as a worker very much. I mean, you know that, but no, I was never that high on him from what I heard of him as a person. Never had a lot of. And when I was going off on my rant about Elgin versus Bar, we're back to that. But no, I want to say I realize wrestlers are scoundrels. I realize there's a lot. I mean, it's not an honest person's.
Well, Hoovy isn't a saint either, so it's
there aren't saints in the business. But with the art and the artist thing is. I think we all have our pushing point where we say, okay, that's it. I don't want to see him ever again. It's we all have that.
Okay, before we get to the Blue Panther anniversary, I have a second story. I have a question.
This is a fun. I gotta be honest.
Have you ever been in backstage at a wrestling show, and maybe somebody like can't find their money or can't find their something? They have something lost, and you kind of wonder who has it or what happened to it. Maybe they misplaced it.
Oh hell yeah!
Has that happened to you?
Oh yeah. Fortunately, that has happened to me.
Okay, so. It happened to Super Commando. He brought in a couple of guys from Mexico. Pirata Morgan Jr., not to be confused with Hijo de Pirata Morgan. This Pirata Morgan Jr. And he brought in Demus and a couple of other guys. And so Super Commando noticed he didn't get, he couldn't find $500 that was part of what he was paid for bringing them in. And he was like, what's going on? He couldn't find it. So they immediately... This is how bad Pirata Morgan Jr. is. They immediately accused him of stealing the money.
Holy fuck.
So they basically were going through his stuff. They actually had him like a police, checkup or whatever. And then they remembered that a lot of criminals put their money in the shoes. I think Demus was the one that remembered. They put money in their shoes. So what they do, they made him take off his shoes. And they checked the shoes, and he had $500 exactly in there. And he still claimed that, and it's on video. It's on video.
He still claims it's not.
It's not his. And yes, it's on video. They're like, whoa. And they're like, and you get your Super Commando just yelling at him.
Whoa. Yeah, as much as I love wrestling and I love the art of wrestling, we've met some very nice people. We've made some very good friends. If any woman in my family said, hey, Kurt, guess what? I'm going on a date with a wrestler, the first thing I would do is figure out who the wrestler is and how I can injure him before the date.
Yes.
And I'm sorry to say that, but there's a lot of scoundrels in it, but we all have our pushing point to where, okay, that's too far, but that's to each his own.
So did you watch the Blue Panther 40th anniversary show?
I watched the match with the Dinamitas.
Okay. Not the Copa Halcon Soriano?
I don't know which one that is.
That's the tournament.
The 8-man match?
No, the 10-man.
The one with Black Warrior in it?
No.
I saw the 8-man.
Yeah, you saw the 8-man.
Yeah. So
you saw the Blue Panther. You saw the Blue Panther match.
So as you can see, I cannot tell what's going on week by week.
That was a good match. You should have watched it. The Copa Halcon Soriano.
Okay, that would be worth checking out.
Yeah,
Stuquitas
changed his name to Halcon Soriano Jr., so he's now no longer a mini. He's a big boy now. He gets to move up.
You're a big boy now.
He's a big boy now.
And from what you say, they don't make quite the money they made when they were minis, right?
No, I don't think they do.
Yeah.
I think it depends. Back in the old, when the minis division was good, and the micros didn't exist,
and it kind of stuck out a little more.
Yeah, and the micros weren't around, and now the micros are kind of the ones that people want to see, and it's not. Nobody really wants to see the remaining minis in CML aren't that good.
I always thought it was the most ridiculous thing because what was so amazing about the minis is you have somebody built like Mascarita Sagrada doing these amazing moves.
Yeah.
And now you have a guy built like a normal man.
Yeah.
Doing wrestling moves, and look, he's a mini. No, he's not.
He's like 4'11".
He's a dude. He's
actually, not even 4'11", 5'1".
He's a bantamweight. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's not a mini.
I'm glad because I think he could be somebody it's kind of like Flamita. I could see him being like that. And I think he kind of mentioned Flamita when he didn't mention him by name, but he kind of said there's guys. It might have been him or Virus that he was talking about. That he said, some of the best wrestlers in the world. One of the best wrestlers in the world is short. It's I don't know why I can't get the same opportunity.
That's one of the things I always loved about Mexico, how little dudes could get over just like a big dude. I mean, not just in the same way, but as much with the crowd. I mean, the 40s and 50s, those were the decades of the welterweights that sold out the arenas, not the heavyweights. And it's so funny because it seems was it the 90s when a lot of it seemed to me like more wrestlers in Mexico were getting on the gas and trying to get bigger. And suddenly by the 2000, the minis are the the so-called.
You're talking about Cibernetico, Cyber the main man.
Cyberman.
So what you think of the Blue Panther match?
I enjoyed it.
Like that?
I liked it.
Were you impressed with Panterita del Ring? He was like the best guy in there.
Yeah, yes. I mean, it was. Yeah,
Did you see that tope into an arm drag?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
That was beautifully. That was beautifully done. Actually, I didn't see it coming.
Yeah. Well, because you've only seen him lately as a Festo who does nothing.
Yeah, exactly. That was that.
Everybody wants him to switch over to Panterita del Ring, and just go as that and like leave the. But he's not. He's probably not going to do that.
That was enjoyable. Oh, another thing I got to bring up with that Elgin match, since you talked about the arm drag. I got to tell you, Elgin blew me away with the timing of the tope.
Yes.
That was
a really nice tope by him.
And the timing was just excellent, you know?
His timing was really good in that match.
Yeah, so...
Yeah.
We won't waste more time on it, so now.
Yes. You already upset me with the whole...
I think it was...
Actually, it wasn't upsetting.
No, I thought this was...
I think I understood. I
think this is one of the best conversations...
You were just like, when you said he was innocent, you were just off by the...
No, I was off by that.
The wording was off.
I horribly misstated that, and I was wrong to do that. But no, I think both about the whole Elgin thing and the women's thing, I think we've discussed things that we never really got each other's notion on.
Well, yeah, it's been a while since.
Yeah, but I think we understood what each other was trying to get at better than we usually do.
Yeah. Yes. So I think this is a good way to lead into our weekend of wrestling.
And after only attending 2 wrestling shows in all of 2018,
and failing to attend the
third. And then being really subpar.
And Hechicero, the best part was Hechicero agreed with us about that show. We'll talk about it later.
Oh my god, yes, that was classic.
We'll go in order. On the show, like getting there and all that stuff, because I think it makes more sense to go.
It's the story of the journey, the road trip. That was fun.
So Randy gets us PWG tickets. I know you said Rob had told me that there was going to be a match that was going to be good on the PWG show that I would be interested in watching. And I think it was I don't know if it was Hechicero. I'm guessing it was Hechicero versus Zack Sabre Jr. because that was something that's been talked about. As Hechicero said, it's been talked about for about the last 2 years or so. And there was other luchadors. There ended up being 6 luchadors on this show, so I think it was something that I wanted to go. So then Randy got in touch with me and asked if he offered to get us tickets if instead of all of us trying to get them all, trying to get tickets, which is very difficult to do with PWG.
Oh man,
because they sell out so quickly. He offered to get them all at once. He did it. I don't know. He had good luck, and I figured that's why I was like, man, he could get it. Because my luck, I'd probably just be like, oh, I forgot, or I'd probably be watching some weird TV show, and all of a sudden, I would have missed it. So then we agreed to meet up at the show. We end up seeing them. I think I've known Cecilia for at least 10 years online, and I think Randy around the same time, maybe a little less.
I never realized both of them you knew that long.
Yeah, I've known him for a while. Cecilia a little more just because she's from Juarez and stuff, so it's like we have that little common thing. Well, she lived there for a while, so we could always talk about stuff like that. And our dislike of Pagano and stuff like that.
And we can always turn that into an angle when we do Hold Straight Wrestling.
Yeah.
We're from the same hood.
Yeah. So then the other person that was there was Rob. Rob Viper, who neither of us have met, but I think we've probably known him about as long as...
about 13, 14 years, maybe.
You? Really?
Yeah.
No, it's longer than that. It's been at least 20 years.
Okay, I got familiar with him when I started getting... you're actually to the date 20 years.
Yeah, that's what I think I am.
It was right. No, man, you called it to the date because it was the year that I got in contact with Jose Fernandez when I got in contact with him, and that was 1998.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it was around that time because I remember, I think I first started going online for wrestling stuff, like in 96, 95, 96, but it was mostly just American wrestling stuff. And then I think around 97, 98 was when I found Rudo's videos,
oh yes,
their website, and then on their website there was a forum link, and it was to the High Spots message board, and that's where I ended up communicating with Rob. And
that's how you got
Jose Fernandez. Yeah, Jose Fernandez.
And I got in touch with him through Jose, and the reason I remember was 1998 because I remember getting in touch with Jose when he saw an article I wrote on Incredibly Strange Wrestling, and then we were talking about Larry Doyle, and then literally less than a month later, Larry Doyle died, and I remember that's when Jose just sent me a really nice email about it. So that's why I remember specifically 20 years ago.
That's why I was.
You called it perfectly.
But yeah, longest time, and everybody, like, whenever people like find out that we've known each other for that long, they're like, "How did you guys never meet?" And it's like, I mean, honestly, it's like we didn't really start. I think Rob started attending shows. Well, within the last 10 years, like traveling. Yeah. I mean, traveling all over.
Of course, you never met.
Yeah, then like I don't I stick in the U.S. and LA and stuff.
Guys.
Yeah, and there's a lot of shows that I'm not a big WWE guy.
Mexico's a big country.
Yeah,
Even if you were both in Mexico, that's a huge place.
There's odds we wouldn't meet each other. There's other people like the guy from Monterrey, Roberto, the dad, not the son. Mm-hmm. He used to talk about coming to Anaheim to go to the WWE shows. He's like, hey, maybe we could meet up. And it's like Anaheim's like, that's like, it's a little further. Yeah, because I mean anything that's like an hour with traffic. An hour, it just seems like a pain in the ass.
See, with me, I learned to drive at 16, and my mom lived up in Sacramento. For those non-Californians, that's an 8.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
So, probably every other weekend, my dad and I would drive 8.5 hours there on a Friday night.
I think also it has.
So I'm used to long.
Yeah,
trips.
And it's something where you just have to it has to stick to your head. Like, hey, maybe I should go meet him. But it's like it never occurred to me.
Exactly.
Yeah, they'd say maybe I'd see you and like, that's whatever, and then you just think, maybe some other time.
I'm glad we met them. What nice people. All three of them were really.
And
really
I also met Fredo, the other Fredo from Monterrey.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yes.
You met the other Fredo.
Yeah.
And on the night of PWG.
Well, that is the night of PWG.
Yes, on that night of PWG, who did Dave Meltzer meet?
Oh, so okay.
Dave Meltzer see
so we meet them. This is something that none of them know because they were there. They saw you go and talk to Dave, so they didn't hear your part of when you came back. So and the post show stuff. So you go and talk to Dave. I'm talking to Cecilia, Randy, and I think Rob left that for a while also during that time. And I end up talking to Fredo because I want to know how his promotion. He runs the Riot promotion. Right. I want to know what was up with his promotion and what they were doing with as far as streaming it and stuff like that. And so you're over there talking to Dave, and then you come back and tell me what you were talking about Dave, and basically what were you talking about with Dave?
Everything under the sun. We hadn't seen each other since Cauliflower 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And so we're
getting updated.
A lot of us are talking about our parents because his dad passed away about a year ago.
Yeah.
We were talking about just our parents and stuff. Then we talked about my biggest shock was when he was going into great depth about CMLL. He actually watches it all the time, and he said it's one of the ones he watches most frequently, which surprised me. We were talking about everything. Just catching up like old friends, and then you were there.
No, this was before that. This was
later in the evening.
This was the end of the night. This was the end of the night. Yes. Well, this was the end of the night for Dave because when he left. So basically, you come back and so this is like something that kind of annoys me. Mm-hmm. Not on your behalf.
Yes.
But the Observer stuff, the Hall of Fame stuff. Mm-hmm. I constantly get asked about the Observer Hall of Fame, and I constantly tell people I don't vote. Mm-hmm. And I've told people that, and I basically said, first of all, when people ask me to do podcasts about it, I don't vote. And also, it's the same guys every single year.
And the same thing, they want to go over every single candidate every year.
Yes, and so it's like, there's no need to do that, because it's like the same 20 guys over and over again. So, basically, you came over, and you're like, I talked to Dave. Oh no, you said you're in, Fredo, you're in, and I'm like, oh no, you said this is what you said. Apparently, Dave said there's a good chance that I think Viano 3 is going to be in the Observer Hall of Fame.
What he said was it's very
possible or something.
There's a huge Mexican, at least in this point in the ballot count. There's a huge sway toward the Mexican wrestlers. And I'd said... And I can't remember what I said to you, but I remember thinking, Fredo was there'd be several more in just from one...
Yeah, and so then I tell Kurt, I don't care. so then Kurt tells me, you should. And I said, why? And he said, because you're in. And I'm like, in what? And so Kurt's like, you're getting a ballot next year. And okay, so this is Kurt. Kurt's like, Fredo is he said, Fredo is, of course, you said, Dave said, of course Fredo's gonna get a ballot next year, or like he was shocked or something.
Like he seemed to already think you had had one.
Yeah.
Like,
so this is Kurt building, like hyping it up, like Dave and I. So we'll skip we'll get back to the show afterwards. Yeah. So we go to the end of it, and so we go and say hi to Dave, and so Dave turns to me. Remember, this is Kurt like hyping up all the stuff.
And we had already talked about Fredo earlier that night, Dave and I. Yes.
So then Dave Meltzer looks at me and he's like, Jeff, long time no see. And I'm like, I start laughing because I already know.
My jaw hit the floor because
you were probably embarrassed about it. I
wasn't embarrassed. I was just shocked because it had not happened in about 2 years now.
Yeah, and it hasn't happened with anyone that isn't Mexican. If you think
I never even thought of that. That's right.
Yes.
That's absolutely right. It's the first gringo.
Yes, the first gringo. Because I even told Dave, you're the first gringo who's done that.
Yes, but it hadn't happened so long, and I had wondered if Dave even remembered Jeff, but he did very clearly.
I was impressed. So then he says that, and I go, I'm not Jeff. And then Dave kind of just looks at you and you're laughing, and you're like, he's not Jeff. He's like, really? And he's like, that's Fredo. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And he said, Fredo, and how are you doing? And stuff like that. And then we had a really nice conversation. Yeah. But then I told Kurt, you know, that all that hype you gave Dave about me voting for the Hall of Fame, and it's like, it just kind of like it just made you like, it kind of like made everything all confusing and stuff. It was like really weird. But Jeff, for those wondering, is basically physico-nuclear. I think we've mentioned it in the podcast. How many times?
I think it's come up several times. Yeah. If you haven't listened to it in a while, you probably haven't. Yeah. But there has been, Jeff was physico-nuclear, who wrestled from 1992 until like the late 90s, and then
sporadically in the mid 2000s.
Yeah, but 2000s. I don't think he's had a professional match in over. I know he hasn't had one over 10 years now. It's been at least 10 years, but so he was off the scene for the longest time. Hadn't gone to any indie shows for years, and then suddenly, when Fredo starts coming on the scene, the first person I remember thinking that you were Jeff was Acero Dorado Jr.
It was Platanito.
Platanito, that's right. That's right. Yeah. At the Legends show.
Yes.
That's right. It was Platanito. Then it was
Acero Dorado
Jr. There was at least one other, wasn't there?
I think it's just those two. There might be another person.
But they were so certain you were Jeff.
Yeah.
And then Augie.
Yes, Augie thought that. Yeah.
Yes, and he's half gringo, half Mexican, so.
And then Superboy's wife, when we told her that, she's like, "You look nothing like him. He's white." I was like, I don't know. And we just started laughing about it. But
we do have that classic photo of both you and Fisico with your hands over your faces. Yeah. Fisico. Segundo.
I appreciate it because, like I said, I think he's a good-looking guy. I mean, getting compared, it would have been horrible if they said I look like some ugly dude motherfucker.
If you like Brasso de Plata.
Yeah, if I look like Super Porky or Scorpio or something like that.
There was a local jobber here when I was a kid. I later found out he's somebody who just was living his dream to become a wrestler, and it's kind of cool he did it. But he's called Country Boy Dean. Mm-hmm. And he's this kind of chubby, kind of baby-faced looking guy who wrestled in. Kind of like a mini version of Man Mountain Mike. He'd go over sometimes, lose. But I'll never forget the second match I ever saw, ring announcer Jimmy Lynn, and as a compliment was trying to tell one of my friends who were with me that, you look like Country Boy Dean. And my friend was never liked Jimmy Lennon again.
See, that's what I mean. It's like you're going to take it the wrong way or you're going to take it a certain way. I don't mind, but I just thought it was funny.
It's great that
I just, a good-looking guy. My favorite thing was like the whole build-up that you made about, oh, you're in and stuff like that. And then Dave's like, hey, Jeff, you must have been like, great, Dave.
It surprised me, but it didn't surprise me because it's Dave. Because that's Dave. Yeah. Dave is his mind is tunnel.
It's on wrestling. It's on wrestling the entire time.
Yes.
Because, like, even when we were talking about the show afterwards, he was just, like, talking about the show, like, like, it was just, like... Because sometimes I think he's not, like... He's just, like, talking about wrestling. And
he's tunnel vision.
He's not really there. Like, he doesn't look at you and stuff like that. It's just more, like... He's just, like, focused on wrestling.
Yeah, he has a time delay on a lot of things. The funniest is with humor.
Yeah.
Tell Dave Meltzer a joke...
And he'll get it, like, an hour later.
5 seconds later. It's almost... It's like the old radio delay, how radio show hosts... have a delay so if a caller says a dirty word, he can blink him out. Dave Meltzer, here's the punchline. 5 seconds later, and he starts busting up.
Yeah.
And it's not just once or twice. At least 7 or 8 times in the time I've known him, I've seen him, like, thinking, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's legit, too. It's not like he's trying to be a smartass.
So the show itself was great. I think it might have been one of the better shows we've gone to. Yeah. So what was your favorite match on the show?
Oh, gosh, what wasn't? That match was just... that whole show... You
don't remember
show.
the matches?
I remember Darby Allin.
The opener.
I remember you saying, this guy's good.
Yeah.
You are so right. I like him in the way I like Jack Evans is he's got a style that's all his own.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the extreme high spots he does, which I kind of wish he wouldn't do, where...
that's the highlight.
It's the highlight, and I like watching it. It's just, I have
Why would you be against a guy duct taping his getting his arms duct taped and doing a tope suicida? What's the danger in that?
Am I remembering this correctly?
He got tossed at one point, and it looked like his shoulder got...
I was more disturbed at him taking just a bump in the ring than doing the tope suicida, because at least the guy was catching him.
Yeah.
Where when he was taking that bump, he had no way of protecting... Now, they were tied behind his back. Taped.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to remember...
Yeah.
Oh, God, that made me uncomfortable.
Trevor Lee was really good. I mean...
that guy's great, too.
Yeah.
I like him, too. And it was a very well done...
He replaced Joey Janela, who I've not seen wrestle. And I kind of was looking forward to seeing him wrestle, but... this guy, I've seen him a few times, and he was good. I liked him.
He was very good, and that was, even it wasn't even the wacky, the crazy high spot that did it. It was a great storytelling match. I mean, Allen's comebacks were so powerful just because it looked like all odds were against him, and it made it even more the effective when Trevor went over. It made it look all the more like you're kind of pissed. You really did want to see Darby pull this off. It was a very good babyface versus heel match. And, I liked them both. And I have to say it's not my favorite match, but that's a huge compliment.
Yeah,
there was no bad match.
Well, it's funny because I think even Meltzer said... I think you remember... did you read Meltzer's report on the show? On the Observer site?
I haven't yet, no.
Well, he does three reports, but because basically he does the Observer newsletter one.
Yes.
He does the quick results, and then he does the podcast where he talks about and remember on the results he hasn't posted the newsletter. I think it's coming up later tonight. We're doing this on Thursday, and but the quick results, he said the first half didn't have a standout match, and then they were all good matches, but nothing that really stood out for him that was like a match of the year candidate. But then when he did the podcast, he said Flamita, Bandido versus Phoenix was like the best match on the show for him.
Yeah.
And I was like, in the other one, he said Walter versus Cobb was the best match on the show.
Oh, so that's funny. That's funny.
I didn't. Maybe he wasn't the one that was writing the quickie results. It might have been somebody else that was there.
Possibly. Yeah.
But I just didn't. I should have read it. But I just thought it was funny that he wrote that. I'm like, what? It's like, okay, I should check next time.
I do remember him. I don't know if this is a pattern, but I remember years ago, he saw a match. We were at a match that he saw live, and he was like, said, yeah, it was good. And then I remember him seeing it on TV like a month later on Galavision. I can't remember what the match is now, but he actually says, it's weird. I saw it again, and I remember... Yeah, I like it better the second time around, so he might have even just changed it.
Because I thought this entire show, everything was good. The match that followed that was Puma King versus Ray Horace and Flamita, and that was great also.
Amazing. And look at all the money the fans threw in the ring.
That match and the Bandido and Ray Phoenix match got a lot of money. I mean, they made a ton of money.
Tons. I think, and I know we're hypothesizing on this. In between those matches... was...
Yeah, well, let's get to the second match because Puma King, the crowd there actually sang along with his song, which I thought was really cool.
That's amazing.
The Bon Jovi song,
yes.
You Give Love a Bad Name or whatever. That I think he made the right decision. Months later, I think he made the right decision.
Well, you could do you could go with family and do the Peste Negra theme, but I don't.
Well, he's not. He wasn't even doing the Peste Negra thing.
No, he wasn't, but...
He would have been happy with that, I think.
No, but I said you could do that thing. I don't think the fans could sing along to that,
Oh, no, he wasn't going to do that. I'm talking about the song, but I mean...
But I wanted him
in
to go to that song.
In CMLL, he wasn't even working the
I'm thinking he's
third
the other
match.
family. Yeah.
He's like... Here, he's like... Even though it's...
He's a superstar here.
Yeah, it's a different type of second match to what CMLL's second match is. because everybody. I mean, the main event guys can work opening matches in PWG, or they'll switch the guys around. But I thought that match was great. I mean, that in any other place that would have been a match the match of the night on.
It could have been a main event anywhere. Yeah. It was.
And Puma King remembering you was also the highlight.
That shocked me. Hola, Güero!
I thought that was funny. He's like, hey, Fredo. I go over and he's like, hey, Fredo. Hola, Güero!
To him, I'm Güero. To Superboy's mom, I'm Gabachito.
I like how the luchadors now, they know us like in some form. Like, it's like, how do you know me? And it's like, oh, I saw you the last time. Or like, oh, I read your Twitter or your Facebook.
What memories they have these days.
Yeah.
Especially the younger ones. The younger ones remember... They remember seeing you sing in the upper corner of the arena.
They're like, hey, I remember you.
Yeah, I saw you eating popcorn and a Coke.
Honestly, even when I interview the guys, I don't expect them to remember me.
Neither do I.
Like, I just expect...
the times it does happen, it shocks me.
Yeah, like, I expect them, like, just to walk by and, like, be like, oh... So that's why it doesn't bother me. Because, we go to a lot of lucha shows, and the people will be like, don't you want to say bye to this guy? Don't you want to say bye to that guy? It's like, it doesn't really... Or hey, say hi to somebody. It's like...
Yeah, I'm not jockeying.
I don't really care, because I assume they don't remember me.
And I'm not jockeying for a job, either,
And it's hilarious, because remember the Traumas, when they came over, they gave us hugs. Like, it was like, why are you guys giving us hugs and stuff? Like,
they're exceptional. Those are two really nice guys. I really like them.
So after that came the Zack Sabre Jr. versus Hechicero match, and that was Hechicero's debut, and CMLL guy. I think he's the first CMLL guy, full-time CMLL guy to be in PWG, and he kind of said he wasn't sure if that was accurate. And I think I'm accurate on that, because
I think that makes sense.
Because I think Rob and I have talked about that we've not seen a CMLL guy. I could be wrong. I mean, because it's probably...
No, I think you might...
I think I'm right, because I think the guys that they brought in, maybe like that were kind of guys who worked a show in CMLL.
That's different for being a CMLL.
Regular.
Yeah, and there hasn't been a strong luchador presence, which we'll get into later, in PWG for a long time. And so, yeah, I think that's very possible.
But him and Zack Sabre Jr. had a really good match.
Beautiful match.
I think a lot of people liked it more than I did. Which I think is great. I actually think that's great. Because, like, if I'm saying something is okay, and you're saying, oh, this was great, or it's one of my favorite matches, then it accomplished it. Because, I mean, they're not... It's going to be hard for Hechicero to win me over, because I've seen him since he was, like, when he was starting out. So it's like, I've seen more matches of him that I've liked more than that. But, I mean, if you liked it, that's great.
I loved it. And I gotta say, I actually... And even amongst other people who were raving about it, a lot of people were downplaying it. I think this would have gotten over... It got over really well live, to the point where...
I think people were just quiet at certain points because they weren't familiar with the...
Well, and also...
It's mat wrestling also.
But also think about it. I think they placed it wrong in the hierarchy of the matches, because they placed it after the three-way.
Yeah.
The three-way was a barn burner. The three-way was dynamic. Three-way was a 5-star main event... 6-star main event... Sorry, I had to do that. That was sheer action.
Yeah.
The fans needed... You almost need a breather.
And I think this was what this match was.
Yeah, but I think it would have gotten over better if they did that match before the three-way.
Yeah.
I have...
And then you also had Darby Allin doing the stuff with the being duct taped and stuff, so it's kind of like...
That's true.
The crowd is like,
God. That's actually a good point. Very good point.
But I think if that was just the thing that led to that, I think they would be fine.
Exactly.
I hope they bring them back. I hope
they do. Well, in fact, I was very moved when, after the match, Zack Sabre Jr. went over clean.
Zack Sabre Jr.
Zack Sabre Jr.
Jack Sabre.
Did I say Jack?
Yes.
Okay. So Jack Swagger Jr. No, Zack Sabre Jr. goes over clean, and Hechicero was in the ring after he's left, and... Hechicero actually has some people throwing money at him, even though it wasn't as huge a match as the one before. And people start chanting, "Please come back." Now that is fucking awesome.
He's really good.
He is so talented. And I love Zack Sabre's... It's almost
he was being an asshole throughout the match, like flipping people off.
He was a great heel, like a modern day heel, like an actual... If he just pushed it a little more, he could have had everybody.
Well, the problem was that a lot of the crowd didn't realize what they were building off of. They were building off of an interview that... went viral in Mexico. It's just the storyline interview that Zack did in Japan, where he's like, we're gonna take over the world, we're gonna take over Europe, United States, Australia, And then he gets to Mexico. He's like, Mexico. No, not Mexico. Fuck Mexico. And everybody in Mexico got very offended about it.
Whoa.
But he was joking.
But but that's a heel. That's a heel.
But then wait. He goes. He's after he said fuck Mexico, he's with Taka Michinoku, and he's like, ain't that right, Taka? Fuck Mexico. He's like, and Taka's like, no. He's like, no, I don't want any part of this. It's like he just like, no, I don't want any part of this. So Zack Sabre Jr. just continues, and so that part was all that went viral. They didn't get the rest of it, and so wrestlers in Mexico got very upset. Tejano Jr. got so upset about it. I messaged Tejano Jr. I'm like, dude, it's just a storyline promo. It's a work. This is a wrestler. That's why I tell you, wrestlers are such like they always when a wrestler shits on a fan or somebody who writes about wrestling, don't take it so personally because they're just as big a mark as the people.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So Tejano Jr. I tell him, dude, it's just a storyline. It's no reason to get upset. He's like, when you talk about my storyline or no storyline, you can't talk about my country like that. And I'm like, dude, really? Come on, dude. And he wasn't the only one. There were a lot of reporters, a lot of people in Mexico got very upset. So they were building off of that. So like if you hear during that match, there's a crowd, some of the Mexicans that were there started to chant like, Zack es puto.
That's why they were doing that.
Yeah, Zack es puto.
Why.
That's why he was flipping everybody off because they were that was based off that. But only that amount of people knew what that was all about. There was a lot of people who didn't know what that was going on.
Wow, but awfully Hechicero was cool and knew what was going on.
Yeah, he knew. I didn't even ask him if he knew.
Not everybody,
but he knew about that.
That's a good thing to know. That's a good thing to know.
Oh, he's very he's somebody who's not as I think he gets it a little better than some of us.
There are some really weird wrestlers, especially when it's wrestling defending.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. Like right around the time I started training to be a wrestler, I'll never forget, it was Tom Pritchard, just very matter-of-factly, and he wouldn't even expound on it. He says, just remember one thing. Once you get in the business, you find a lot of the marks you hear about, they're actually people in the business.
Yes,
and it's true.
I was laughing at that whole thing, but yeah, I told Hechicero Meltzer really liked his match. A lot of people liked his match. He was very pleased that people liked it. The interview that we did with him, he does explain his thoughts on the match and why, he kind of explained why it turned out the way it did, and he kind of I even told him, do you think there was something where maybe it wasn't something that you were, the crowd wasn't used to, and he kind of explained that maybe what they were expecting, they're more used to Zack being in control of mat wrestling and not having somebody else that can counter him. Right. And he's like, whereas with me, and he did mention that there were some certain points where Zack didn't really know what he was going for.
Oh wow! Really?
Yeah, and so he kind of they kind of messed it up. No, they kind of messed it up at certain points because if you notice it, there's certain points where they kind of I
actually do, and one of the things, one of the things is I thought they covered it pretty well. Like a lot of people probably caught it, but there's other people who probably missed.
Well, I told them I know a lot of people were saying that they were better off not doing any dives. And I told Hechicero I thought he should have done the corner moonsault because it looks like a guy like him doing that. It's so cool when he does it.
Well, especially somebody like Zack Sabre.
Yeah, on Zack Sabre Jr. Yeah, so I told him he should have done it. I go, I know the people are going to tell you that you should have just stuck to the mat. I go, you should have done that just to wake up the crowd. I go because there was a lot of people who were kind of I think it wasn't. I think they were being respectful. Yeah, they were enjoying the mat wrestling more than anything else.
And they appreciated Cavernario, Hechicero. I mean, to get that kind of chant afterwards is saying something about your work specifically.
So right after that match, we got probably the best match of the night. Bandido versus Phoenix. And that was insane. That's the first time you've seen Bandido wrestle, right?
Yes, and remember what I said when I first saw him in the ring? Yeah. It's just, if this guy wrestles even as half as well as he does just standing there looking like the coolest thing that's entered the building, then this guy's great. Yeah. He has a lot of charisma. Just standing in the ring, he looks... He's charisma. He's like Negro Casas charisma is... Yeah. And
he has a cool mask also.
That mask is awesome. Yeah. And he's just a great worker. Man, if he loses that mask, he's going to have to get extra security to keep the women back. And what a fucking great... I mean, this is the only time I've seen him. I don't know what to compare to, but that was an amazing match. It's
Yeah,
like that's actually one I would like to get the DVD of. You know?
Yeah, because that was a really good match.
Yeah.
The stuff these guys were doing, just the dives and everything, and all the stuff they were doing in the ring. I mean, that power slam spot that he does off the top rope, and then he did a dive on our side. Somebody took a picture from the direction that we're standing from. So you basically see all of us. I think you might be in it also. Or you might have moved a little further away because you were probably the closest.
Because I was trying to get.
Yeah, you were taking a picture. Yeah, that's right. You were taking a picture. So you're not in it. But the rest of us, it's like we're all like this. Like we're all.
Oh, I got it.
Like looking at it.
Did
like,
you put that? Is that on LuchaWorld?
No, it's
you
somebody
gotta
else
get
took
it
the
on there.
picture.
You
Somebody else
gotta
took the
ask them
picture.
to use it. I
Yeah.
want to see that.
I don't know who that person is. I'm not gonna
That's
ask
like the Facebook photo. I don't know if you've seen that photo of when Superboy was first wrestling. He's doing that backflip off the rope. In the front row, you see Physico, Pat Howitt, and Steve Gerber all going.
Yeah. But we're all just like it looks hilarious because we're just like, oh, like what's going on? But that was a really great match.
Holy shit, that was good.
I thought that and the main event were probably the best matches on the show.
But
like
that guy Walter.
Walter, that's the first time you've seen Walter too, huh?
I liked him.
Yeah.
I was telling people I had a hard time. It was hard.
Just two big dudes beating the crap out of each other. I thought that was cool.
This reminded me of like what you hear 1950s wrestling thing like.
Yeah.
They looked like a time warp. It was fun. The guy Walter, I had a hard time taking him seriously at first because, as many of the older folks know, Killer Kowalski's real name was Walter.
Yeah.
And my friend Tom Burke, with his Boston accent, would always talk about, I'm going to go see Walter. So every time I see this guy Walter, I just hear Tom Burke's voice going, Walter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think that guy was
That
awesome.
guy's fucking amazing.
What do you think of that intermission, the match after the intermission? Brody King versus Timothy Thatcher.
It was good, but it kind of left me dry. Personally.
I think just because it was like everything else was
awesome. It's what I enjoyed the least.
Timothy Thatcher bled though. I mean, that was kind of cool.
Hard way it looked like. Yep. I dug his little very weird tribute to Gordon Goliath by saying he's from Sacramento, but didn't they say he's representing Germany or something like that?
Yeah.
Or he's fighting out of Germany. It reminded me of the old Black Gordon Goliath. They claim to be from New Mexico. They're not one of you.
Brody King, this is the second time I think we've seen him. We saw him at the Santino Brothers show. Yeah, I think he's pretty good.
Was it Santino Brothers? Yeah, we have seen him before. I think you're right.
Yeah, because that was a good show, that one.
Yes,
I remember that. Rascals versus LAX.
That was fun, but I hate when sometimes I hate when my old man ruins something. It's kind of like you can tell.
I love the LAX.
I love LAX. It's just they kept doing these hot tags, and then when they
God, you're complaining.
Yeah, because. There's
old
one.
Man Kurt.
No, there's one of the hot tags where they came in on fire, like I'm going to kick your ass.
Here comes Old Man Kurt to
exactly,
host the podcast.
And I hate when I do this too. I hate when I do this. And this is not a big knock because that was a good match. But there's one point where there's this hot tag made, and the guy gets in, and he looks so unenthused. Like,
oh, that's it.
but then later they're working the same psychology with the other team, where the other team is trying to make the hot tag.
Honestly, you just can't compare like the charisma of LAX to the other guys. The other guys don't have that, but they're really good workers.
But they should have. Yeah, no.
I want to see LAX versus Flamita and Bandido.
Oh, that'd be bitching.
That'd be pretty fun.
That'd be bitching.
Or the other team. The other team also.
Yeah, and that was my only thing. Thing is I thought, technically they did a lot of really good stuff, but it's kind of like. Even though I know there's no traditional heel and faces, it's like they're doing heel and face things, but they kept trading off. Like, 1 minute one was kind of being a subtle heel, and the next minute the other was being a subtle heel, and just kind of my own little thing. But the Little Rascals are great in this shirt.
The Little Rascals. Can you name them?
No, it's
Can you name who they
Spanky, Alfalfa, Farina, Joe Cobb. People forget Joe Cobb was the original Fat Boy.
Can you name the current?
Fuck no, I can't name half the boys on any wrestling show.
Desmond.
Not LAX.
Desmond Xavier or Desmond Javier.
I don't know any of them. I know there's...
And Zachary Wentz.
Yeah, all I know is the coolest t-shirt of the night was the Little Rascals, but LAX is the coolest thing.
What t-shirt of the Little Rascals?
You didn't see the Little Rascals t-shirt?
No.
Oh, it was the best. It was one of the best.
They made it?
Yeah, it was like an orange shirt. that had like Little Rascals logo over it, and then had some little spoof to make them look like the Little Rascals or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, it was a great shirt.
Yeah. I know they're called the Rascals.
If you didn't
buy Puma King's T-shirt
I did buy Cuba.
I know.
Yeah,
Puma, not Cuba. You're gonna say Cuba or something.
I could. He's gonna be Cuba King. He's the Cuba King from now. So next time we see him,
yeah,
he's claiming to be from
Cuba. He's a Cuban refugee.
Yes, claiming to be from Havana.
I didn't see that T-shirt when you bought it. And I think Randy bought it and posted a picture of it, and I'm like, man, that's a cool T-shirt.
And you know what?
I didn't buy it. Of course.
The only reason I bought it is because I just happened to see it out of the corner of my eye. It was the last one.
I didn't see
it. It was the same design as the one with yellow, but it looks so much better in the hot pink.
Oh, you got the hot pink one.
Because it was the very last one they had.
Yeah, really.
So, boy, the guys were. It seemed like a lot of guys were making up really good on merchandise.
Hechicero didn't bring T-shirts.
I know. I remember people saying that.
he looked at me. He looked at me. I go, "How come you didn't bring T-shirts?" And he just looked at me like gave me the stare, like, dude,
like
don't ask.
Like 100 people have already brought it up to me.
Yeah.
He'd be $200 richer.
Because I don't know if you noticed. Well, we'll talk about this next.
Yeah.
Let's stick to the PWG thing. Jeff Cobb versus Walter. That was a great match.
Yes.
Were you glad Jeff Cobb won the belt?
I didn't give a rat's ass.
You didn't care? He's one of the nicest guys.
He's one of the nicest guys.
He deserved it.
He did deserve it.
After spending how many hours talking to us about wrestling at the Lucha show.
Jeff Cobb is just playing cool.
If he could suffer through our conversations about wrestling, he deserves a title.
I think him getting through the conversation he had with us is what brought his career even higher.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, after our conversation with him, he went to New Japan, and he's now a PWG champion.
Absolutely, it's all because of us.
It's all because of us, yeah.
Yes, we have supernatural abilities.
So the show ends.
We don't know it yet.
We should just go to the show ending and go discuss our.
And we'll just briefly say, Jeff Cobb is one of the coolest wrestlers out there.
We did see him go when we went to Denny's. We saw Jeff Cobb.
Yeah.
I think Trevor Lee. Walter.
And as we walked by, we said, no autographs, guys, just look the other way.
Zack Sabre Jr. Then there was somebody else. I can't remember who the fifth guy was.
Don't remember that. I do remember Zach. And
it might have been Timothy Thatcher, because it was all the non-lucha guys.
Yeah.
We went with Bandido and Flamita. And,
yes.
And Rob, Cecilia, Randy, Fredo, the other Fredo, and two other people we had no idea.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so we end up talking to...
Cecilia and Randy are just such a sweet couple. Yeah. Very cute couple.
Yeah, Cecilia's going to tell us about extreme couponing.
That's right!
She still hasn't sent me the message, so I could start learning.
Cecilia, are you listening?
Yes, we need to learn how to make save on our money and stuff. You know.
Exactly.
And we did not win the lottery. Neither one of us won the lottery.
Neither one of us won the lottery.
None of us.
So Holt Street Wrestling will be delayed.
It is on hold.
Yes. It'll be happening. I had a really fun night. Had some really wonderful hosts.
Yeah, Flamita was cool. I asked him about Octagon.
You were chatting with him away. Oh my God, that's right.
Nonstop.
Yes.
Oh, Bandido. I also told him he had an okay match, and I was telling Rob was asking us about the matches, and I said, and then I go, hold on. And I go, I thought Phoenix and Bandido was an okay match, and he heard me, and he's like, what was that? And I told him, no, I thought your match was great. But he was a really nice guy. I thought he was a really...
Oh, you guys were chatting it up. That was great.
Yeah, he was a really nice guy. I was telling him he's really good. I told him I didn't think he was that good when he first started. It wasn't that. Because, he's in there with...
we all start from the bottom.
He's in there with Volador Jr.
Exactly.
and Flamita. And Volador Jr. and Flamita are like so much... At that point, we're so much better than he was. I think right now he's already surpassed them.
Oh, hell yeah.
And Flamita was telling me about Octagon. I do want to mention this.
Yes, dude.
So I asked Flamita if he resolved his issues with Octagon. He said, yeah, he apologized to him afterwards. And so then I go, how many gunmen were with Octagon? And he says 6. And I'm like, 6 gunmen.
Oh, Jesus.
This was the restaurant scene. I don't know how many of you still remember this. The restaurant scene when Flamita was Hijo de Octagon or Octagon Jr., whatever he was called, and he was doing autograph signing. Yes, he was in AAA. Right? While it was AAA doing the name, and so Octagon was very upset about the use of the name. So he shows up with a bunch of armed men, and I think I only saw like. You could see like 2 or 3 around there, and then like women around there, like his family and stuff. And so when Flamita said 6, I was like, holy crap. So I asked Flamita, were you scared? And he's like, yes, I was.
I give it to him for even staying awesome. In the business. I would be... If I had 6 gunmen, I said, maybe I better do a different career. Then I get big. Flamita goes way up on me, and
Flamita was awesome.
I've never been a big fan of Octagon, but even before knowing about the 6 gunmen, just hearing about what went down, Octagon's one I don't want to see again.
And then Bandido was really cool. Also, we talked a little bit about his trips and stuff like that. So, just a fun night overall with everybody.
Night. That was one. I think that's one of the most enjoyable shows we went to ever.
Yeah,
really. I mean, that was really fun.
Yeah,
really
and the dinner afterwards was fun too. So then the next day, we decided to go to San Diego for the Baja Stars USA show, and we actually continued our run of meeting people we haven't ever met that we've always known online.
And when was the last time we had been to 2 shows 2 days in a row?
Yeah,
Years.
So I'm guessing you've communicated with Steve Bryant before, right? So Kellen censors Steve Bryant?
A little bit, yes. That's right.
Because you do the Hall of Fame stuff for them, or they do that stuff. Did they ever contact you for that stuff or no?
No. I think if you're a member of the board, you can vote. So I think that's why.
So that's why you probably did.
I voted.
He contacted you once, and that was basically it.
But I don't think he even contacted me.
Somebody else did.
But he did put me on the ballot, which I appreciate, even though I don't belong in any Hall of Fame. I was very tickled. I was very tickled they put me on the ballot. So.
Yeah, it's weird. I think I've known him since probably around the time Rob. I think.
Swear I've met him once before, but I'm going crazy trying to figure where it is. But I'm probably wrong.
Yeah, so he saw. I took a picture of the ring, and as soon as he saw the direction of the picture of the where it was taken, he figured out that was me, and he went over and said hi to me.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so
that's
cool.
That's why I came up.
Yeah, unfortunately, like we couldn't hear ourselves talking. Like we were yelling so loud, and the music was playing so loud. Both shows, they were playing Guns N' Roses, and we could not hear anything.
This is something I want to say to all wrestling promoters.
Don't play Guns N' Roses.
Don't play
loud
music in between matches before.
Because that's cool. Like you want to talk to people.
Yeah, we want to catch up. We don't want to hear blaring music, and we don't want to see the flashing strobe lights.
We should probably mention this before. We did talk to Super Dragon at the PWG show.
That's right. Yes.
And I decided to skip past Rob for my lucha suggestions, and I suggested. One particular guy that he was very interested in, I mentioned he should book Virus, and he said, he still wrestles? And I said, yes, he does. Very well. He's like, cool. And so we're going to get Virus on that.
Damn! Yeah.
Honestly, I think the way they're getting the luchadors is if people can contact them online, that seems more possible.
Well, because when you...
And I don't think Virus is that easy.
Well, also, when you were talking, was it with Super Dragon you were talking with when... You're saying there used to be reliability issues with management of the luchadors coming to town.
Yeah, because he was talking about trying to book somebody, and he said he thought it might have been the first Mystico, but he said it might have not been him, but it was somebody like at that level at that time. And but I was telling him how even the local luchadors, it's always they're very unreliable.
Yeah.
To get like at certain points in the past. Now there's so much more access to all these other guys. You could skip the unreliable guys and find the guys who can more or less be reliable, like Bandido, Hechicero, Flamita, guys like that.
People who manage their travel, too.
People who will remind them, like, hey, you got to go there. Plus, I think there's a difference because now they're realizing they got to make money, and over here, there's more money over here. But he was saying, like, because I was telling him, I go, people think that you're not a lucha fan. Oh, because I asked him, what did you think of the luchadors? He said, I thought they were fantastic. He's like, I want them here more often. And so I was like, people thought you were not a big lucha fan, but they forget you actually started on lucha. And he's like, yes. He's like, I grew up around lucha. It's like, I don't know why people thought I didn't like lucha.
He actually sat through my horrible matches in Compton.
Yes.
He was a little 14-year-old kid with shoulder-length hair.
If he could survive that, he could survive anything.
Yeah, exactly. That was the blueprint of what not to do.
Yeah.
No, he and people like Roy Lucier, Dave Floridia, there were a number of guys who in some way got involved, or some were just rabid fans who were faithfully at Platanitos shows in Compton every Friday night.
Yeah.
It was a fun time.
So what you think of the San Diego show? Because I thought it was okay.
I liked it. It was
good.
We saw probably one of the 5 best live shows we've ever seen.
Yeah.
The night before. It's
probably the best live show I've seen. Oh, but probably the Wrestle Reunion shows were probably pretty good. I thought this was better.
I thought this was much better than the Wrestle Reunion
You've seen more
shows.
wrestling than I have live, so.
I'm trying to think. Although I would have to struggle to figure out which shows were better than this one. I'd have to really think.
Yeah, because you went to other shows. Like you went to Japan. You went to Japan. I mean,
there were some. Oh, those UWA
that's what I'm
shows
saying.
were astounding.
My comparisons are just local lucha shows and going to Vegas and missing half the shows.
We should start doing write-ups of the Vegas shows we go to at Cauliflower Alley. Not the matches. We entered the room and there was a tag match. Ooh, look who's across the room.
Yes.
Hey, they waved us.
Yes.
That was a wave that was firm but no vagueness. I get that a 5-star wave. I'm reserving all 6-star waves for when people get upset at the thought that I might give 6 stars.
You know what always abuses me? Like when we go to Cauliflower Alley Club, you're the one that gets all the interest. Like you're the one that gets all the Kurt's here and all that stuff. But we go to lucha shows, I'm the one that gets.
You're the one everybody. I know exactly.
Yes.
I have to say that was the biggest
like
compliment I've ever got was that first year we went or was it the year before last when we just happened to arrive at Cauliflower and we happened to enter the wrestling event right when the tag team title was changing, right when the change in the ring was taking place.
Yeah.
And it was Jason Reinhardt, I think Roy Lucier scream, Vandal!
Yeah.
And about 12 people come up to me, and I was just like, well, that's probably the best compliment I've ever had in my life, probably the best one I'll get, so thank you guys, thank you.
Yeah, because even at lucha shows, it's like, I'm surprised people even know me. It's like, what? Why are you talking to me? I'm surprised.
They're getting familiar both in voice and in face.
Yeah, I thought the San Diego show was good. I liked that Danny Limelight match. The first match he had, because then he was in tag match also.
That's right. I forgot. I forgot his name. I remember the worker. I remember him doing double.
I didn't tell you when I was in the restroom. The guy who challenged him, the Chris Bay.
Yes.
Was there, and I told him, hey, that was a good match. And I go, what was your name? Because I couldn't hear it with the audio, and he's like, Chris Bay. And I was like, oh, okay. I told him, that was a really good match. I just wanted you to let you know. I was like, oh, he's like, thanks.
Oh, cool.
And then he left. And then there was the women's match that lasted like 6 minutes. I don't remember anything of it.
I even forgot there was a women's match. Well, it's funny because after the show, I could tell that the card didn't go quite as planned.
Well, you know what happened.
But you know in better detail.
Yeah, what happened was Hechicero, we go and we ask, we talked to Hechicero at PWG, and we were, I told him if I could, we were going to go to San Diego, and I asked him if I could interview him there, and he said, yeah, sure. He probably would have done the interview in PWG. Because he still had some time. But
louder though.
Yeah. No, it was kind of quiet towards the end, remember? We were there we were still there for a little while.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, we were there for a while I think we were waiting for Flamita. Mm-hmm. And so he kind of said, yeah, sure. And so we go there, and I asked him again. I asked Cavernario also, and Cavernario said, yeah. But I think Cavernario towards the end looked kind of tired because he was traveling. He had already, I think, worked the Friday show
and he had done so much duty with the fans already.
Yeah, so then Hechicero, while I talked to him, he said, I'll go get dressed and then I'll come back. But before that, they were doing the whole merch thing. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you noticed, but when Cavernario gets, somebody buys a shirt, he does a little cross thing.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, like he thanks God for the,
for the
money. Yeah, I noticed that. I was like, wow, he seems like him and Mascara Dorada seem like the most religious guys in wrestling.
I love it. He's a caveman who crosses himself.
Yeah.
And he's a certified accountant.
Yes, he was really nice.
I like this guy.
So then Hechicero said that. So he doesn't come out, and I'm like, okay, I think he's probably going to wait till he forgot, or he's going to wait till the main event. So the main event, what happened was the semi-main event, pretty much done. Didn't happen. Mm-hmm. Not enough wrestlers were there to do a semi-main event. How many wrestlers were there? There was
I don't know, but
1, 2, 4, 6, and then the three 9 wrestlers.
Yeah, see, what stuck out to me is I wasn't even really keeping much tally, but I saw they used this guy double duty.
Yeah, Danny Limelight.
And Danny, what was it, Danny?
Limelight.
Limelight. I like that name, by the way.
We were standing next to his wife or girlfriend.
Were we really?
Yeah.
Oh, was she hot?
She was sitting right next to us.
Yeah, but I didn't notice her. Was she hot?
She probably was. No, she wasn't. No, she was alright. She was a young girl, man. Yeah. No, I wasn't checking her out. Yeah, she had a kid too. Like, come on.
Yeah. No.
He's the married one, guys.
Yes. So he's the one who will stay a local boy if he's a decent human being, probably.
No, I'm saying you're the married one saying that stuff.
That's right. Nah.
But
you know me. I'm more for the women who have a passion for what.
But he probably saved on money because he didn't have to pay any of the TJ guys.
Probably did, and knowing wrestling promoters, if he's a good wrestling promoter, he paid Danny twice. If he didn't, he paid him once.
Yeah.
Instead, he paid him twice.
Yeah.
But I thought they did a pretty. Let's put it this way: I didn't know the details, but I could tell something went wrong with the show. And after the show, I thought, well, whatever they did to cover it, I thought they did.
The semi-main event was basically done. It wasn't added. They just went from the women's match to the main event. And then as Hechicero comes to the ring, he like looks at me and he does this, like he apologizes like hey, sorry. He pointed and apologized. Afterwards,
yeah,
like apologized.
Which was very cool.
And I just gave him a thumbs up, and he was like thanks. Yeah. And because I understood. They changed the lineup. Mm-hmm. He was expecting to work the TJ guys, and then it ended up being a tag match. And I thought it was a pretty good match. I thought Cavernario and Felino. Felino, when I watch him on CMLL shows, I don't think he stands out because it's basically the same match. And it's always Nero Casas who really stands out in the matches.
Yes.
But when we've seen Felino here, he's actually been pretty good.
I think he is too.
Yes.
I think he is too.
The two matches I've seen him in tag matches, he's been good.
Is it almost like, because you see him a lot more consistent than I do, does it almost seem like he's in there with his brother and his Peste Negra, he's in there for play, and when he's in there by himself, and say, okay, time to put my work.
But even like in singles matches or when he's not teaming with them, it doesn't come across that, I don't know, maybe it's because in CML nobody cares.
Probably. And he's getting older too.
Yeah.
He's probably feeling stuff.
But
because Negro Casas, the whole family's great, but Negro Casas is great, where I wonder if Felino's aches and pains are catching up to him, because he still works harder than some guys his age.
Nah, I think he's fine. But it's just,
not great.
No, it's just he's not Negro Casas. That's
nobody's Negro Casas.
Yeah.
No, I know. I'm saying he is not what he was, but I still think, considering his age and all that.
Yeah, but
it's still passable. But I do agree. I thought he was more on than he usually is.
Yeah, but after the show, we ended up spending some time with Hechicero. Cavernario was there for a little while, but it was more Hechicero. I think Cavernario had I guess he got hit in the head or something, so he had like ice.
He had ice.
He said he was fine. He said he was fine.
He was getting pictures of all little.
Yeah, there was a lot of people.
It was really adorable. I don't know if you saw there were little kids.
It's on like if you search it, I think it's on Facebook. If you search like the Baja, do you see that picture of like him with the little kids?
The little kids, the way he gets down and does that caveman pose. God, what
he did it when you took my picture. He went like this. I was like, man, this is like the.
That was cool. But Hechicero, he gave you an interview about
20 minutes long, man. I was like.
And like I said, I can pick up little bits and pieces of it.
You had questions for him too, which was interesting. You never
surprised me. I got to be honest with you, as I sat there and listened to what I could pick up, and just how detailed he was. This guy just fucking fascinated.
He's an awesome guy.
If something scandalous happens with him, I'm going to be heartbroken because I like this cat.
Yeah, he's a really good guy. What were we talking about? God, there's something that we were talking about and I totally forgot. I'm blanking right now.
We're talking about what Danny Limelight's wife looked like.
We should have asked Hechicero. No, just kidding. We could ask Cavernario. No, she seemed like a nice girl. I mean, I hope he doesn't listen to this podcast.
No, we're just kidding around.
Nobody.
We're just kidding.
Whatever anybody does, don't let. Not that I would care. I didn't say anything, anyways. You could defend yourself. You're a wrestler.
Yeah, but I just asked if she was hot.
Yeah, she's a good-looking woman.
She probably was.
Hechicero. Hechicero. So we start talking to Hechicero, and I tell him that we were going to go to the show that he was in Los Angeles earlier in the year, and he was like, "Which one?" And I go, "The one I think it was outdoors, like in late January, or early February," and he's like. Oh yeah, the show that was freezing cold and we were wrestling outdoors. I go, yes, you guys went. You stood out there in the cold watching this show, and I told him, I tell Hechicero, nope, we went and got coffee. We went indoors someone, and he's like, I don't blame you. I go, we were gonna go and I was gonna ask you for an interview that day, but I figured you were because I even told him that Mark Cole had offered to ask his wife because I go, Mark Cole had told me ask Hechicero's wife. Because she's the one that will tell him and he'll agree or whatever, or she'll pass on the message. And I told Hechicero, people always ask me like, oh, I'll do this, but it's like I don't mind going and asking a luchador for an interview. I go, I'll go ask you, like you could be like with 30 people and I'll be like, hey Hechicero, can I do an interview with you? And if you say yes, cool. If you say no, I'm fine with that also. So then he was like, He was like, no, it was freezing that day. And I go, yes. People got mad. People were like calling us like pussies for like not staying at the show. It's like,
see, that makes me feel good
because they think Los Angeles. It's like, oh, you guys can't handle it. It was cold for us. I mean, for Hechicero thought it was cold.
That makes me feel so good because I felt like such a pussy. I thought, okay. I thought one day we're going to meet Hechicero, and he's saying, "Oh, you guys couldn't take a cold pussies." That's what I thought he was going to say if we ever brought it up.
He was like, "It was freezing that day."
Oh, I'm glad. That makes me feel good.
And I asked him, "Who'd you wrestle?" And he's like, "Just some local guys, I think." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So we didn't miss much. But
that was the one where, and also because I talked to Superboy later that week.
Yeah.
Remember how we made?
We were talking during the.
And he said the other thing about that night was he had to tell, he told his kids and had to tell other people, he says, there's a wire above the ring. It's a live electrical wire. Be sure you don't touch it. The promoter doesn't
We got to tell Hechicero that.
Yeah.
Next time we see him.
The promoter doesn't say anything
Jeez.
about something that could electrocute.
Hechicero was probably like, they do that in Mexico all the time.
That's right. We swing from those wires. You're pussies if you can't swing for the wire in the freezing cold.
He's like, that's the least of the worries when you wrestle in Coacalco.
So watch, if the wrestlers knew that, they would have clung to the wire and let it zap them so they could warm up a little bit.
Hechicero probably would have been like, these guys, come on. You should see them in places that I wrestle. But he was really cool. I thought he was raw. I think that's the cool thing about lucha. Like every single luchador we've met have offered to have been very gracious. Even Volador Jr., who got mixed reviews this past weekend as far as being a nice person from some of the wrestlers that we were talking to.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I'm surprised because
I won't name who, but there was somebody who isn't a fan of Volador Jr.
Yeah.
And a couple of other ones were okay with him.
We've met him on 2 different occasions,
and he's always so nice to us.
And I don't think of all the people from Mexico that Superboy has like worked with on a local basis and stuff, I don't think I've ever heard him rave about somebody as nice as Volador.
You know, my favorite thing was like the guy that I won't name his name or anything.
Mm-hmm.
When I was talking about Volador Jr., he's like, well, and I was telling him he's nice to us, and he's like, he might have been nice to you, but not to me. And we were just like, I was like, my God, he was all, like, I'm telling you.
Are we in junior high now?
Yeah, but I thought that was awesome. I was like,
That's funny. Oh my gosh. I suddenly feel like we're the cool kids in the senior quad in high school. Like,
I explained it to him that
he's nice to us.
No, but it's like funny. I think it's because when you're a wrestler, if you've seen Volador Jr., he has very high standards for certain wrestlers, and he's one of those guys who's very like, oh, you're not good or something. He's very open about that. Oh, the other thing I should mention during the talking to a lot of the luchadors, I when we're talking about CMLL, I should mention usually luchadors don't say anything bad or they'll defend somebody who's a shitty wrestler. The one guy who nobody ever defends is Bestia del Ring. I mentioned his name amongst a lot of these guys that were at the show, and like they didn't say anything bad about him, but they were like they didn't like say, oh, he's
could tell
he's
that.
Okay. Like you could tell they didn't.
You could tell that they would wish he would leave the building for a while.
Because we were talking about how bad certain guys are in the main events.
Oh man,
he's one of them.
He and Diamante Azul. And you remember me, I actually really wanted to like Diamante Azul a few years back.
I saw somebody on Twitter wanting Diamante Azul to be in MLW. And I'm like, why?
Really?
Yes.
Is he confusing him with somebody else?
He could be in MLW, I just won't watch the show.
Well, maybe we could...
It'll save us. Maybe he won't be in CMLL.
Ooh. I would hire him as a ring boy for MLW.
They don't have room for ring guys. And have you seen their?
Oh, I'm sorry. No.
Have you seen
no. If Rob Feinstein starts promoting it, I'll hire him.
Have you seen the MLW shows? They're like
I haven't.
The ring's really close to the crowd.
Oh my God! Like
no, sometimes I that's the only shows I've seen.
Kind of, it doesn't look like a very well produced.
No, it's good. It actually looks good. Yeah, it's better than Lucha Underground.
Yeah. Speaking, I got to tell you, when I was watching the Zack Sabre Hechicero match, one of the things I kept on thinking, it's almost too bad that TV studio wrestling still isn't the thing, because a lot of those holds that Zack Sabre does, like the arm locks and the wrist locks, he uses such expression with it. It'd be great to get a...
You should watch. I think it's his match in New Japan. There's a match in New Japan. I remember. I think it might have been one of those the shows that he wrestled here in LA, the New Japan shows in I think Long Beach or one of the California shows. And he's doing this the submission hold, and he's grabbing the hand, and he's like just grabbing finger by finger and like twisting the fingers.
Yes, That is cool stuff.
Yeah. But you can't see
And I
it,
love-
and that's the trouble. You can't see it like when you're live. You're not really noticing it because you might not have the right angles.
Exactly. See, we had the luxury of at one point he was right in our corner, and you could see him with the armbar and Hechicero, and you could see the facial expression and him going finger by finger. I just thought, I love the detail this guy does, and it would be great if you have the right cameraman.
They should do that match again. I think there would be a little more a better. It was good. It was really good, and I think it would be. I think they could do a lot more. It would be a lot better.
I'd love to see them.
It's a really good rivalry.
I enjoyed it.
They should bring Nero Navarro and have him wrestle Zack Sabre.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like I said,
I don't know how he's doing right now.
Well, forever, Zack Sabre could say "fuck Mexico" till.
As long as they bring in more Mexicans to wrestle.
Yeah, exactly. But when I saw him pay homage to Negro Navarro after his match with him, I said, I'm forever a Zack Sabre fan. He's gonna have to really fuck up to make me angry.
What will he do to make you angry?
So watch, there will be a sex crime next week, and jeez, So
he hates cats.
Ooh, uh-oh. And if he sexually abuses a cat,
Oh, jeez.
deal breaker. Okay, that's where I draw the line, you know. If the cat loved him and said, "Yeah, let's do it," okay.
Okay, we're getting so.
Yeah,
so
but you keep it platonic unless the cat says yes.
That's the part I'll be editing out. So,
come on, that's one of the best parts.
We're probably done by now. I mean,
I think we're done.
Else?
And you know what? This I have to tell you that I've enjoyed doing this podcast, this particular episode, a lot.
Yeah, it's not going to be edited because it's already Thursday,
and I don't know about you, but I had a lot of. I think we both had a lot of fun doing this particular podcast.
Yeah, it was good seeing everybody that we got to meet. Rob,
Totally.
Randy,
and
Cecilia.
Hopefully, we get
SoCal
to see you guys,
Steve.
Yes, SoCal Steve. And oh
Hechicero.
my God, who's the gentleman we met? We met another guy or somebody that
I couldn't hear.
That was the thing, is I couldn't hear half of what he was saying. He's somebody I corresponded with online. I apologize for forgetting your name, sir, but he's a very, very nice guy.
He's a really nice guy. I like him.
Yeah, very nice guy. Very has checked out a lot of our stuff online, and we made contact, I believe, when I was in Alaska. It was right before
he's probably your Facebook friend, and
he's
you
a
don't even know.
Facebook friend. I feel bad. Okay, I gotta submit.
This is something else we found out. You were like when Randy and Cecilia were like talking to you, and they were like, "I'm not," and you said, "I don't think I know who you are or something." And then I'm like, "Yeah, they're your Facebook friends," and you're like, "Really?" Yeah, and they are.
I honestly don't. I recognize the name Cecilia, but I didn't recognize that as this Cecilia.
Yeah.
No, I honestly, I friended them. We probably had no conversations or anything. My loss. They're great people. They're really nice people. But this gentleman that I was talking with, we had corresponded, and he's actually somebody who is related to Super Astro Senior. Actually,
also probably Junior.
Probably, unless they had a falling out. But he also knew Gil Arellano and a few of the other local boys, not the newer local boys, but from way back. And it was a really fun we enjoyed talking with you, sir. The music, we couldn't hear much of what each other was saying, but we had a great time chatting with you. And
like I said, the music pretty much killed it for us.
Stop with the music and stop with those strobe lights.
My favorite is there's that one picture where Hechicero and I are waiting for the music to stop. So we're just sitting there. We're just sitting there, just sitting like that. Like, okay, when's the music gonna stop?
Yeah, that was a great pick. And it looks like that's what you're doing. It looks like you're waiting for something to stop.
Because I told him, let's just wait till the music's over.
You need to put that in your interview with him. Yeah. You need to put that photo there. Yeah. I demand it. I insist. Everybody else does too. So, we met some nice people. We had a great time. I had a really fun time doing this episode. And I got to tell you, if you guys did not enjoy me on this episode, just listen to the ones Fredo does. If you did enjoy me, there is a moral. When you drink coffee, make sure you're drinking it black.
I know.
You'll be wired.
You weren't this wired at Denny's.
No, I wasn't. I only had one cup, and that was because I was on the verge of falling asleep, and I didn't want that to be our last ride home. Yeah, Fredo had a good time tonight. I'm falling asleep. Crash. That's what would have happened. But no, I'm wired and I'm ready to clean the house.
We'll definitely have to go to a PWG show again.
Definitely. And
Super Dragon, book more luchadors. Actually, just bring him Bandido.
Super Dragon, yes. Please do that. And they're pricey seats, but we guarantee you it is worth it. It is.
Yeah, it's a really good show.
It's a very, very good show. And the theater.
It's a not. Yeah.
One of the. It's a.
Did you ever go to the Reseda show? The Reseda.
Yeah, this was much nicer.
Yeah.
I like this 100 times better. I went with you when we went to that one.
I don't think I've gone to Reseda. I went to that one giant armory.
Yeah.
And then I went to the industry ones.
The Reseda one is a much smaller armory, or it's not an armory as much as a veterans hall. That one, people love it. I like this one, but the Globe Theater in downtown LA one is one of those classic movie theaters from the 1920s. And I'm so jazzed that so many of them are still standing in downtown LA. And a lot of things like Lucha Vavoom was done at the Mayan Theater, which is another famous LA theater.
They're actually doing shows this week, so.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So
yesterday and today.
Oh, wow. The Halloween show.
Yeah.
So
those are good, too.
Those are good, too. I highly recommend PWG, everything from ambience to the location to the wrestlers.
If you could get tickets.
If you can get tickets, that's the trick. Get the tickets. They're expensive, but they are so worth it. And thank you, Fredo, and thank you, everybody you went through to get these tickets, because I know that was your effort. And I've never even tried getting PWG tickets.
I
know
joked
how hard it is.
when you missed this the first attempt to doing this podcast.
This podcast, yes.
I joked that at least you didn't forget about going to PWG.
Oh my God!
Because it is possible, that you could have forgotten.
Is. Although PWG,
It wasn't quite that lucha show that you skipped on.
Ladies and gentlemen, you would think that since I retired, I'd have my shit together, but the truth is,
it's actually worse.
I forget which day of the week it was, and I'm not joking either. And my insomnia is much worse than it's ever been.
Really?
So send me Ambien through the mail.
Is that legal?
No, it's not. But send me it anyway. That's how desperate I am. I rarely sleep, and when I do, it's like from noon to 5 or some shit like that. So
when's the next PWG show?
I have no fucking idea.
It's probably December, no?
Let's find out soon.
Yeah. We'll have to
let's
go.
Look into it. I'd really like to go to another one.
If they book Bandido, we'll go again.
Definitely.
Bandido and Flamita.
Bandido.
If it's just them two, I'm sure Puma King will be there too. So you can hear him. Hola, güero.
Another new nickname for me.
Güero. I love that. I was like, because like I said, I'm always surprised. I always think, man, they're not going to remember us. And then I think the Casas family would, because they already remember us all the time.
Well, they're such people.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They're such people.
Other guys, I'm always surprised. Like, oh, really? You remember me?
Yeah, God bless those guys. Yeah. They're awesome.
So I think that's about it. No. Anything else you want to?
No, I think
anything you want to plug?
Anything I want to plug? Well, of course, I'm occasionally on that 605 podcast, which is one of the best podcasts out there. Not as good as LuchaWorld, because LuchaWorld is the finest podcast. Yes. And Fredo, I think this is the time where you should plug the Patreon account.
The Patreon.
Patreon account.
Patreon.com/LuchaWorld. Someday I will add that magazine right up. I think that's the trouble that I think a lot of people don't realize. Like, since I do the Lucha reports, I do all this other stuff for the main website, the podcast. But then I'm also now when I attend shows or help somebody move, like I have been doing for the past couple of weeks with my sister. And it doesn't give me a lot of free time to do all that other stuff, but it'll happen at some point.
You've been a busy cat, totally.
And you could vouch for it, because I've been busy. Yeah.
Nope, I totally back that.
There will be some stuff coming up. We'll probably do a podcast for the Lucha Classica next.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Maybe we could look through some of those old magazines again.
We'll probably.
I get a high.
I'll probably write it up because you probably won't remember half of it. By the time you get here, it's like, what?
No, that's the sad part is remember when we did that 1967 magazine?
That one, when you remember, you had stories for that one.
That's the thing. Show me something from the 60s and 70s, and I can talk all night about it. Ask me what I saw last week, and I said, "That's a great mess," but I don't remember the guys in it exactly.
You did pretty good remembering PWG, so.
That was so memorable.
Yeah.
That was a great show, and that was a really, really, really fun time.
Yeah.
And since we're nearing the 2-hour mark, I guess we should wind it up, shouldn't we? But I've been having a blast. Caffeine rules. So kids, do your caffeine. And there is so much more we could talk about it. I bet we can make this a 3-hour podcast.
No, don't do that.
Okay, I don't do that? Okay, we'll say that for next time. One day we'll do a marathon where we're going to have a 6-hour podcast.
We will do that.
We will do that someday. Maybe that could be our New Year's Eve thing. Now people do special New Year's Eve shows. We'll say it's New Year's Eve, but it'll actually be 2 days before.
Yes. I didn't even get to talk about Scarlett Bordeaux. I did actually talk about her, right?
On the podcast?
Yeah, AAA Scarlett Bordeaux.
I don't think you mentioned her name.
She's the greatest luchadora of all time, Kurt.
In other words, she's the hottest looking.
Yes.
I knew exactly.
She's amazing.
I remember you talking about her over the weekend. Yes.
She's the top luchadora. She's way better than any other luchador female wrestler in the world. I'm sorry, guys. You could have your favorites, but Scarlett Bordeaux is the best. This is gonna be a long big.
Scarlett Bordeaux. Okay, all of you guys.
Bordeaux.
Okay. Jack Swagger Saber Jr.
Jack Saber Jr. and Scarlett Bordeaux.
Scarlett Bordeaux.
The longer those last, the worse.
You've heard of the third Bardo. It's a very deep Buddhist thing. So the Scarlet Bardo must be the third Bardo. You ever heard? You've heard of the third Bardo. I know you've heard of the third Bardo, Fredo. What song was the theme song for Slam and Stan? What group did it?
It still is for LuchaWorld.
Good. It should be. The only other one that should replace that song is who is the group who did the Nancy Sinatra cover to How Are Things in California?
I think it's Sator.
Sator, yes. That's a great song.
Yeah, and then also the Coco No song has been used.
Oh, yes. That's right. That was
We've
pretty
used
good
like
one.
4 or 5. Pesta, the
Pesta Negra, that was a really good one. You know,
not the Pesta Negra, the Nero Casas one. Because the Pesta Negra one has bad words on it, so we can't play it.
Right. Yes.
So
Atrevatete, I love that song.
So that's about all, Kurt.
Hare Krishna. This is really it. Until the next podcast.